this is the Pig Moose Podcast. I will be your host. The Pig Moose Podcast is made up of the Pig Moose production guys. We are from Chicago. We moved to LA, working on films, documentaries, and podcasts. This will be our main podcast with the main guys. We also have another podcast called The Dumbass Jar. So I'll just go around so you can recognize everyone's voice. My name again is Matthew. I love film, love anything about acting, directing, everything pop culture. I also love new foods I can talk about at the end that come out in fast food and other stuff. So if everybody else wants to go, recognize their voices a little bit. And also another little point that this is just the first podcast, so not all of us will be here following podcasts, but we will do an introduction just to see who's here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Trevor, I love all the same stuff, dude.
I love the same stuff.
Sweet.
I'm Josh.
My name is Tim, and I love movies, and what's better than making movies with your best friends who you live with? So
My name is Connor. Honestly, I love food.
I love food.
I love food. Hell yeah. Okay, sweet.
I love bread.
I love bread.
Bread makes you fat.
Just bread and water.
Okay, cool. And then we'll cut that in the beginning. This will be our main podcast with the main guys. We also have another podcast called The Dumbass Jar. So I'll just go around so you can recognize everyone's voice. My name again is Matthew. I love film, love anything about acting, directing, everything pop culture. I also love new foods I can talk about at the end that come out in fast food and other stuff. So if everybody else wants to go, recognize their voices a little bit. And also another little point that this is just the first podcast, so not all of us will be here following podcasts, but we will do an introduction just to see who's here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Trevor, I love all the same stuff, dude.
I love the same stuff.
Sweet.
I'm Josh.
My name is Tim, and I love movies, and what's better than making movies with your best friends who you live with? So
My name is Connor. Honestly, I love food.
I love food.
I love food. Hell yeah. So some of the news in the week of the last week of June into July of 24, we had some Gladiator 2 stills. Did you guys see those?
I did see the Gladiator 2 stills, yeah.
I didn't see those. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any thoughts on them?
I really like it. I really like the first one, but Pedro Pascal I think is throwing in everything just to save it. So we'll see.
I love Pedro Pascal.
I love Pedro.
I think he's going to be one of the best parts about it.
And I think he's going to be really good because he got his start on Game of Thrones, which is the same vibe. Where he was a gladiator too, and so and he was a really good gladiator. He had a good scene, so I think that he'll do good with it.
I think he's one of the ones that belongs.
Yeah.
And how many years is this since the second one? Is this like
It's been
20 years?
It's been 20 years probably. Yeah. I think it was 2000 was the original one, so it's been 25 years, something like that. I think Denzel doesn't actually fit as much. I think he's the one who kind of.
I'm excited for Denzel actually the most because I feel like he doesn't fit in, but he feels like the
I think
he has a presence.
His acting chops all over, and being like the Joaquin character, maybe if it's gonna go the same route where he's like the king, like the nasty king. But I don't know, we'll see. But I'm mad that they're not gonna have Russell Crowe.
I know Russell Crowe.
I wish I understand Russell Crowe because he's not in like gladiator shape and he's older now.
Yeah,
And he
but
died.
Russell, yeah, he did die at the end.
20 years spoiler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let them fly. It's been 20 years.
Yeah, I think it's fine. Is anyone familiar with the main actor?
The protagonist of it?
Yeah.
No, I'm not. I probably might know who he is, but I don't know his name offhand.
Yeah, the guy.
Paul Mescal plays Lucius Versus. Pedro Pascal plays Marcus Acacius.
Yeah, Paul Mescal. It looks like he was in.
He has a brother.
No, it's Pascal and Mescal.
Mescal and Pascal. It doesn't seem like he's in
A ton.
anything, but it does look like he is going to play Paul McCartney eventually in 2027.
Oh, he's the guy who played Paul McCartney.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, in the Beatles movie, yeah.
In 2027. So.
Yeah, Josh and I have been talking about that,
Interesting.
following that one.
He's also an After Sun. I never saw After Sun. Either way, later two does look great.
Yeah.
I do love Pascal. Denzel is a wild choice for the king.
What about you, Trevor? What do you think? Now they are actually part of the conversation and not trying to look at the video.
I think it was cool. I did see something the other day that it was a video looking at the stills of Gladiator versus like previous Gladiator type movies, and it was
Yeah.
showing how much people are softening like sunlight in movies nowadays.
Yeah.
And I didn't watch the whole video, but I agree with the title that like you need to stop softening the sun. Like it takes away from the edge. Like I noticed in the Furiosa too. Like there were some shots that was supposed to just be like straight harsh sun, and it would add a lot of edge to the scene and to the image, but it was so soft.
It
It
feels-
was just too beautiful.
It feels dreamy all the time or something like that, yeah.
Dune was like that, too.
but
Yeah, Dune was
beautiful
like
isn't
that.
always the correct shot.
Dune
Yeah.
really takes place in the desert.
Actually,
You know,
speaking of, I think,
there are
like,
more color pops in Dune than that, you know.
yeah, like the Scorpion King of the Mummy.
Everything was too rich.
Really,
Yeah, the
they
Scorpion
really
King-
had to do it well. Where you're like, oh, it's hot
Scorpion
out there.
King.
I feel it's hot out there. That dude's about to die. You know,
Yeah.
like they're just chilling in the sand and like Dune, like all fine. You're like, you know, it's 105 and like reflecting off that sand. Like they're cooking.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like it. Yeah.
Specifically the Scorpion King.
The Scorpion. I see what Trevor's saying. How
Top.
just it doesn't feel as high. It feels too. It doesn't feel raw enough now. It feels
Like
too.
they're always going for the
edited.
most beautiful shot.
Uh-huh.
If you
That's awesome.
go based off Roger Deakins, the beautiful shot isn't always the correct shot.
It's always a correct shot. Yeah.
I think even on that, you know, you go to Indiana Jones and you can see that dude was sweating.
Yeah, he was
You know,
sweating too. Yeah, that's another one.
Like, that wasn't
Beating down his
makeup.
face. Yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't makeup. That was like him actually out there
Just
just
balls
hot.
hot.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, that one scene in the third one where he falls off the tank and they're all like, oh no, he died. It looks like a bleak sun, and he's all like dusty and bloody. And he's like, I'm like, oh man, that doesn't suck.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gladiator 2.
You too, yeah.
That was a couple stills. Another couple stills that we saw were just behind the scenes of the new Superman movie. They just had a couple behind the scenes, you know, like the paparazzi getting the shots of the filming of Superman. How's everyone feel about the photos so far? Yeah, personally, I liked Henry Cavill. Because Superman was filmed like the town over from me growing up too.
Yeah.
Like it was right there.
Yeah.
But it is fascinating to see James Gunn's take, not only on the universe, but Superman as the main protagonist, it seems so far.
I like his suit. I think everyone's problem with this, kind of my problem, they kind of put words to it, was that Henry Cavill had a really cool suit because he had that body suit and then he had a very skin tight suit over it, so it looked like it was just skin tight on him, where this, it does see, even though David Corn's foot is really jacked now, it does kind of seem like it's the type of suit where if he puts his arm in it, it'll crinkle.
It's baggy, but
Yeah.
you gotta realize
It's a
that
little
all
more
of
padded.
that suit right there is just gonna be a stand, a hold in place.
I was gonna say he's definitely gonna probably, if not get a new
CGI.
suit in this movie within the next couple. Yeah, also that, but he's
They're
also
it doesn't matter how
It's-
baggy it is right
he's
now.
gonna
'Cause they're
evolve
fix
his suit
it
too.
They're gonna
Definitely,
make
yeah,
it
they're gonna fix it in post.
in post. It's
Definitely.
not gonna be that big of a deal.
I think
but
it'll be fine.
there are a lot of rumors that he is gonna get a second suit in this one. That first suit is probably gonna go along the lines where it was made by Mark Kent in this one.
Yeah,
That's one of the reasons that it's so
Looks a little
colorful
tactical.
as compared to the other ones.
Mark
We've seen
Kent.
a lot of set photos about Mr. Terrific, and Mr. Terrific's costume is pretty comic book accurate. It's pretty awesome.
even
actually.
his
It's
hair,
like
it's
one
like
of the coolest
yeah,
superhero
that's
costumes
exactly
that
right.
we've seen. But we got stills of Guy Gardner and Hawk Girl and some of these other heroes as well. And theirs are not as colorful, but if you look closely on them, they also are bearing the mark of Maxwell Lord. So they're actually probably, because this is Superman kind of being a young Superman. It's not an origin story though. But what's going to happen is you're going to have this, span of these superheroes that already exist in the world, but they're kind of like corporation. They're working underneath.
It's like
Maxwell
Public
Lord.
Enemies.
It's kind of like Public Enemies.
We're all all
Where they're
superheroes work for
working,
the
and
government.
then you're gonna have Superman come in, and he's gonna be the sign of hope, but he's also wearing this significantly brighter costume, which is gonna then push all these other heroes to kind of break away and
become superheroes actually.
and become
not
superheroes.
corporate
Actually,
agents
that's if you watch.
powers.
If you watch, they did release one set video, and if you watch it, it's that one that everybody's talking about where Superman flies in and all the kids come running to him, as opposed to the other heroes. And it's because they're drawn to Superman because he's fresh, new, and
Colorful.
actually just wants to do something good.
Yeah.
Where Guy Gardner is notorious for being a sleazebag.
A lot of the names though you just mentioned, I feel like aren't like A-list or B-list or even like to like the
Hawkgirl
modern
is.
audience. Hawkgirl, sure, but like how do you think the modern audience that like don't really know Superman, at all, or even just Superman is like Wonder Man or Wonderwell. I feel like I don't even know who that is. I'm pretty into.
Nobody knew who the Guardians of the Galaxy were until James Gunn, so that's just right on brand
True.
with
Okay,
James Gunn.
so do these characters have personalities that could shine through? You think?
Oh, I mean, DC that's the one thing that DC shines above Marvel is their
Character development.
character development and list, and is like significantly better than Marvel.
I'll tell you what, yeah, Mr. Terrific also has the quote unquote power to be a good player too. He's like one of the smartest characters in DC.
But
So yeah, I think that he's gonna be a bigger player too. I don't think Guy Gardner will though.
no, but they all.
What's Guy Gardner?
Yeah, he's one of the
Green
Green
Lanterns.
Lanterns. He's like
Oh,
the one
he's
that
Green
with
Lantern.
the little gap in his teeth and like the bowl haircut that's kind of a jackass.
Yeah, he's just one of the Green Lanterns.
Yeah.
So he actually would be.
He'll be funny in it.
Yeah, he
He's
would be
funny, but he's like really
And
smart.
Hawkgirl, she's typically part of the Justice League, but I mean,
she's in the animated series, yeah.
yeah, even in the comics, she's typically part of the Justice League. Mr. Terrific, you get into him, and if you watch, talking about the animated series, if you watch Justice League Unlimited, you'll see all these characters, But James Gunn, I think, is doing this for a number of reasons. One, there's something about bringing light to new kind of names and faces, Again, Guardians of the Galaxy, nobody knew who they were when we first started. Nobody cared about Guardians of the Galaxy. And now we love Guardians of the Galaxy.
It's
List of
the top
characters.
series of Marvel.
Yeah.
And I think part of that is like bringing fresh faces that like the mass don't know about so much.
Yeah.
Like if you're into the comics, you'll know them, but
Mhm.
is like the mainstream population, they might not know them.
And they have a lot.
Fresh faces, and that's nice versus just redoing Superman or Batman for the umpteenth time.
Mhm.
One of the things that I'm kind of a little worried about is they've announced a lot of superheroes for this movie.
Yeah.
There's a lot
Might
of them.
dilute
There's
it.
a lot of them in here. Now I don't think they're gonna be in the movie. I think they're just gonna be like little here's and there's,
Sure.
But there's a lot of them in there. So I'm not. I don't know how that's gonna play out. I don't really
Like
think I want.
schedules too many to really develop them, really show them off.
I don't think it's really about development. I think it might just be they're pawns in a greater game, because
Yeah.
it's a Superman movie. They literally dropped Superman Legacy and are just calling it Superman now.
Right.
So it's just a Superman movie, But and obviously he's going to be the mainstay. I don't think it's necessarily development. I think it's just there might be a little bit too much.
Yeah, well, James Gunn can probably handle that well. 'Cause We saw that in Suicide Squad, and it handled well. Where they put every Suicide Squad member in there and killed them all off in 10 seconds.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
So I don't think. Yeah, I think that maybe Guy and Hawkgirl and Mr. Terrific. I would say those are the three that would probably be there the most.
Mm-hmm.
But
They also cast Metamorpho.
yeah, the guy who played from Barry, and he's Zaz.
Yeah,
and,
I know.
yeah.
And
That's a great casting.
And that'll
Actually,
be-
it's a good casting.
that'll be a cool hero to see, and it's also just really cool to see a lot of these heroes on the big screen for the first time because you never, as a comic book fan, this is what you want. You want this type of thing, Marvel went down the road of solo movies and then jumped into Avengers, but it never really kind of got deeper than that, Where I think James Gunn is starting it off right, where he's like, well, let's just jump right into a world of heroes, instead of it just being like Iron Man.
Right.
Only Iron Man, only Captain America, only,
Like series, just
Yeah, it
three movies
feels,
coming
it
along.
feels like we're jumping right into
Just
a
having a
comic
little
book,
bit more.
which I'm really into.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
I think it'll be good. I have a kind of follow up to the set photos. So we'll come back to me after. What do you guys think about the set photos?
No, I think we're.
We think we're
Yeah.
kind of past. Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I think one thing that it interests me about this, and I don't really want to speculate for this because I just want to go in there and just just be fresh with it because all that speculation just convolutes everything, and I put it set your expectations as something that's not just going into empty mind. But the one that keeps getting me is Ultraman because I keep seeing those set photos of that guy in the black suit that has a U on his suit that's like holding back Superman. But it's not confirmed to be Ultraman, but it could be Ultraman, which is like an Earth, a separate Earth, Earth 2 Superman.
I think it's gonna be
kind of like he's more of a Homelander.
Yeah, it's gonna be the crime syndicate.
Yeah.
So which might be cool. You know, I'm cool with like, jumping right into Crisis on 2 Earth.
Yeah, right. Which would be awesome to have Justice League versus Justice League. That's kind of what everyone likes about the Boys, the bad superheroes, and everyone loves about just DC and Marvel, but DC, especially with Justice League, is just a core team of a bunch of people who are just a powerhouse.
The
team.
one thing that
and then
I'm
them going
sick
up against
of,
each other
though,
is great.
The one thing that I'm so sick of though is pitting Superman against Superman.
Yeah, but who else is going to go up against Superman?
He's got a whole list of characters.
I really hope they put like a Brainiac in there. Eventually.
Brainiac,
I know
Lobo?
Lobo would be great. I mean,
Mixolyspidic. There's a whole list of
there
villains.
is. They really
Parasite, Livewire.
They go back to the same
They just
well
never
Superman
throw
are.
in, and they always need,
Trigon.
especially in
Trigon.
cinema. They definitely
Trigon.
Trigon. Little known fact: one of Superman's other weaknesses to kryptonite is magic.
He's susceptible.
He's susceptible to magic. Trigon would be a great
He
option.
would, and he usually is.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
For the
Ask some
animated
questions.
one.
For the animated ones
Explore
in
that
general, yeah,
as much
Dragons are
live
good.
action.
And they always pit
possess,
Superman
which is
against
great.
a Superman level, you know. If they're gonna pit Superman against Superman in this, it better be Bizarro.
I've been seeing a lot of stuff about
It
Bizarro
better
too,
be
actually.
Bizarro because
They've never really done like Bizarro like that.
I've seen a lot of
No,
like
Bizarro's
fan
good.
edits about
So
wanting
sick.
Bizarro.
I mean, unless you get into like the CW shows, but
And but people are thinking also this one is I've been reading a lot of is that people think that the guy who has Ultraman on is actually when he takes off his mask going to be a Bizarro character mixed between the two because Lex Luthor is gonna make this Bizarro, not gonna have him from Bizarro world where he's from a separate world. It's gonna be like a zombie that takes Superman's DNA.
well,
So we'll see, but-
I think that's actually one of the only things about this Superman movie that's like I'm not worried about. It's just I think people when David came out and they were like, oh, he's gonna be Superman. Everybody was like, oh, I don't know if I agree, but you know, as it's gone, people are kind of agreeing and falling in line and behind him, being a good Superman. But I don't think that he's got the hardest job. I think that Nicholas Holt's got the hardest job because it has notoriously been hard to do a good Lex Luthor, and we have not had a good Lex Luthor.
Oh man, dude! Not even like
I wouldn't even
Rosenbaum.
say Smallville, man. I don't think we've had a good Lex Luthor.
Smallville.
Smallville's the most intimidating, I think.
No, dude.
Live action.
Kevin Spacey, 100%. Kevin Spacey was the best.
Yeah,
Lex
but
Luthor
none
man.
of these have ever been a Lex Luthor from the comics. You know, you get the Jokers and all these different iterations of the Jokers, and they're all kind of some version of like a comic book Joker, you know? But Lex Luthor, we've always had these weird, like, takes on Lex Luthor where it's like, you know, he's supposed to be like this businessman who's like, kind of like the Kingpin,
Yeah.
a little bit like a hothead, and we always get these characters that are like either like
Like
okay, well he's a
whimsical
kid,
smart,
okay, well
yeah.
okay, well or he's like you know I don't know, it's just like he's witty. Oh,
My problem with Lex Luthor is that everyone that we keep getting portrayed by is not a scrawny person, but they're smaller people. And Lex Luthor is like a
he's a big
built
dude.
guy, you know? Like Jesse Eisenberg, even Kevin Spacey, Gene Hackman, like none of them fit the IP of this, you know, I don't know, the deep voice and the very stock, like he's not stocky, but he's like a built guy.
Yeah.
And I hope Nicholas Hoult kind of brings that. But even Nicholas Hoult's voice now is a little bit light for what I think of, at least. I think of Clancy Brown from the animated series, but that's because he's animated, so it's kind of hard to. It's easier to put him as comic book accurate.
I guess we'll see.
I guess we'll see.
I guess we'll see. No, we'll just have to wait for the first trailer.
Yeah.
What about Gene Hackman though?
Gene Hackman,
He's Hackman
he's
was-
not my
They're,
favorite.
again,
He's not my
there's
favorite.
like they're all good
I love
parts
Gene
here and
Hackman,
there,
yeah.
but all
They
in
never,
all, it's
no one
like,
embodies
Come
him.
on, he had the ice.
We have not
golfing on
yeah.
top of his roof.
We have not had an embodiment. You know, as much as I hate to, I love the all the Superman movies. I really like them all, but I would say that probably the Christopher Reeve movies are they're Superman movies. You know, they're the Superman movies. They're quintessential. He embodied Superman. It's not my favorite movie. I think Henry Cavill is probably altogether my favorite. But I will say that Christopher Reeves had the closest. Like, and we haven't had that with a Lex Luthor character.
I do
where he just
think-
embodies the character.
I do
Yeah.
think that
You know, he's
Gene
like,
Hackman.
okay.
I do think Gene Hackman had one of the best quotes though out of any Lex Luthor, where he said, "Some people can read War and Peace and come away thinking
Oh,
it's
yeah.
a simple adventure story. Others can read ingredients on a chewing gum wrapper and unlock the secrets of the universe." And I think that's the core of
It's true.
Lex
yeah.
Luthor.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
it is, yeah.
saying?
The smart people, there's not smart people.
Yeah,
And
that's-
smart people will figure out how to do it no matter what.
That's
without,
the core of
yeah.
Lex Luthor, and they never hit it. You know.
Yeah. And he's cocky because he's so smart. He knows he's so smart. He knows he's smarter than Batman and stuff like that.
He's
And
like
he knows.
He's like Elon Musk. If Elon Musk was like a
Yeah, he just doesn't have the physical skill like Batman, but he does eventually
tech
get.
suits,
so-
that's about
yeah,
it.
He does get some good skill. But people have been saying he's going to get a tech suit in the Superman too.
Yeah, if he doesn't show up in a green and purple suit,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do it.
Even the
That's
spandex
it.
green and purple
Yeah.
suit with the
I
gun
know.
would be kind of cool.
I'm not into it.
All right, so the next trailer we got was the new Hellboy movie, The Crooked Man.
Yes.
So the first Hell movie, obviously, the first two were Ron Perlman. We all
Yes,
know those
of
two.
course.
They're so good. I grew up with those two, and they're some of my favorite, just dark superhero movies growing up.
They're fun.
And you got the devil, you got Nazis, you got it's got it all.
It's got it all. It's got it all.
Yeah, his hand too, and they remade it a couple years ago with David Harbour, and it definitely had a different vibe. And I heard a lot about bad things about it, but when I did finally see it, it definitely wasn't as bad as people said it was. But I feel like they just keep going into a direction that no one really feels like they need to. They could just easily do a Ron Perlman and go with that.
I would say that is this supposed to be a sequel?
I think it's a reboot.
Is it another reboot?
No, it's a
He-
reboot. Yeah,
I was like, he looks strikingly similar to Ron Perlman's.
I mean, he's super skinny.
Yeah, he does. I mean, is it like a prequel to Ron Perlman's or something?
I have
Because
no idea.
we don't get the full origin of
No.
Hellboy at all, really. I mean, we get a little bit about it.
Yeah, in the first Hellboy movie, we get a little bit with the portal and
Yeah.
the Babe Ruth and everything.
Yeah.
But
I'll tell you what, a hot take. I'm not a big Hellboy fan. Never have been.
Never saw it in
The Golden Circle, or not the Golden Circle, the
Golden Circle.
The Golden Circle, yeah, the
it's
second
so
one.
good.
It's so good. It's
It's
better
so
than the first
good.
one, but they're
It is
both
better.
very fun. It's like in that same vein of like Blade or
Yeah.
Spawn, where
It came out
they're
around
kind of dumb, but they're kind of fun. But
Yeah.
also they're Guillermo del Toro, right?
Yeah, the Golden Toro. They're like
And they're very.
they're like in this like new age of like this dark kind of gritty superhero that like
They're also
no one
Spanish.
really had done until like Watchmen. That was another level of like that was rated R. Well, this is only PG-13, but it was in the same era as like Blades and Spider-Man, and
Right.
like it felt gritty.
It felt gritty,
Yeah.
and a lot of like practicals. There's a lot of practicals compared to
Love the set
CGI,
design, yeah.
and it's so fun because everything looks just a little bit off, especially Guillermo del Toro.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So with the new guy, I mean, I don't know. I just always felt like they could have easily just made a third one with Ron Perlman. And
Oh yeah,
that would make
he said he's been down for it.
he'd be down for it
I
too.
know.
Just make it old Hellboy. And
Yeah,
like,
he doesn't even need to do that much. He just to like throw a punch every once in a while with that.
And we all want it.
Yeah, he's got 2 guns. He doesn't need to be doing
Mhm.
flips or anything like that. CGI him.
Do you read anything or know anything else from Dark Horse comics?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know the boys at one point I believe was, and
Right,
they got
Dark Horse.
sold out to
Okay.
the I think it was Todd McFarlane's company.
Yeah, no. The only thing I really knew about Dark Horse was
Umbrella
Hellboy.
Academy is Dark Horse.
I was gonna say anything
Oh,
that's
okay.
not Marvel and
Okay.
DC,
It's
right
Dark
under it.
Horse.
If
Yeah,
it's
it's
popular, it's Dark Horse.
Dark Horse is-
Dark Horse picks up everything that
Dark
Marvel and
Horse
DC
is
will.
basically
Gerard Way.
Oh, Gerard Way.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
He's taking over Dark
Okay.
Horse.
Oh, he is completely like he's taking
I
over.
think so.
Dark
Really?
Horse.
That's awesome.
Dark Horse is essentially the A24
Of
of
comics. Yeah.
It was an independent comic book company that started up, and it really just gained a lot of
Just popped
traction. Through work.
Yeah.
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 It gained a lot of traction, and it puts out comics that aren't, especially when you get into DC and Marvel, they already have a slate of characters, so when you go and you become a writer at DC or a writer at Marvel, they'll give you these characters, and you're just doing a new Superman run, or you're just doing a new Captain America run, and it's very hard to get new characters created and pushed out in those, So Dark Horse is pretty good for that, but they also will just do individual runs, which is pretty good too.
And they'll do like individual, like I believe the Dark Tower series is Dark Horse.
Yeah, like
it's
standalone.
Dark Horse and Marvel, I think, together.
Yeah.
Or like a Marvel subsidiary. But Dark Horse is definitely the thing that picks up most of them, if they're not. Except for like Invincible and the Boys now, I think, are Image Comics, which is Todd McFarlane again, who did a lot of famous work for Marvel and DC. He broke away with a group of people and their stuff, but
Also the creator of Spawn.
and Spawn's also part of, and I think he's the creator of Venom.
He is.
As well, yeah.
As well. Okay,
Yeah.
that's pretty good.
But yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel. I mean, I'll probably see it, but I don't know why they keep trying to beat this dead horse. Or they could easily just make a third Ron Perlman and make the money back that they've spent on both these.
Yeah, I know. They could.
Jack
Oh, yeah.
Cassie's movies. Yeah.
I'll give it the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah,
I'll watch
see it.
it. I saw David Harbour's.
Yeah. All right. And speaking of Marvel, our last topic of pop culture is the Deadpool and Sabretooth trailer, but also that Marvel is coming back to Hall H at San Diego Comic-Con after 3 years, and they haven't been to Comic-Con for 3 years, so it'll be fascinating to see what they actually plan out, because they always put a roadmap, they always change, it feels like a week later. Yeah, I always was looking forward to the Hall H's as a younger kid, seeing like the roadmaps and...
Well, now we can go if we have
Yeah,
$1,000
that's
in 2 years prior.
2 years wait list.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely probably too late to go out. But
Oh,
we'll
yeah.
watch it.
Oh, yeah, I'll watch it.
We'll talk about
I'd even
it.
go outside and just stand outside that Comic Con. You can go into the lobbies and stuff
Yeah,
for free.
true.
And it's so fun.
That'd be so much fun. No, I'm excited to see what they present. Fantastic Four is going to be fascinating because it's set in the 60s and in an alternate universe.
I think that the Fantastic Four being set in the 60s in an alternate universe is the Marvel MCU's deflection of where was the Fantastic Four this whole time?
Yeah.
For the last 20 years, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's in the comics too. There's some comics where they're in the 60s and they like time travel to the future.
That's what I was gonna say. Is
and
that
like the whole time it's just gone, So like they could have thrown in a lot, but I do like an alternate universe where like you kind of have they can like put a play on different Avengers in their universe, like
Right, yeah.
people
Which is
dying
very cool.
and stuff.
Yeah, but,
Quicksilver could be a main Avenger in that universe.
the main Avenger, yeah.
Not get shot by a bullet he deflected literally seconds before.
I know.
I don't know why they showed us.
I don't know.
Well, the reason they showed us was honestly they only showed us 2 trailers, and of this footage, has only been 3 minutes. It's only been 3 minutes of a 2.5-hour movie.
They didn't need to show us any trailer.
They didn't show us any trailer. I would have been more
They
happy.
could
I
literally
would
have
have been.
just dropped a couple of posters and people would have.
But I
they
feel
would
like
still get the same
Everyone's
turnout.
the same amount of people are going to go see it, no matter what.
This is just the cameos that we've seen have only been like 10, but that I feel like it's still the tip of the iceberg. There's still a lot that they need to show.
Here,
But either way, so whoever hasn't seen the new Deadpool trailer, we're not going to talk about spoilers or anything, just what was released by Marvel Entertainment. They released a trailer with the Sabretooth from the 2000 X-Men film, not the X-Men Origins,
Liev Schreiber.
Not
Liev Schreiber, but the actual long hair, long eyebrow, long beard Sabretooth with the fingernails as well.
like the original one, which is gonna.
Yeah, not his brother.
Not
but
his brother, but Sabretooth.
Sabretooth. And where he's at is like this plane in the Loki series where the TVA like literally prones people, and they are like in this dimension where you literally get killed by this time police basically.
It's and I think that's gonna be I think it's gonna be really fun. It's gonna be a fun movie altogether. I'm super excited for it, no matter what.
Yeah, no matter
because
what.
it's gonna be so fun too. Because it's gonna be R-rated. It's gonna first of all we're getting Deadpool, Wolverine, and everyone.
Not only is it the first MCU R-rated film, but it's also these two actors are literally, you put these guys in a white room and you'd still watch them for
And what I'm saying, and
Yeah.
it's great because they're both going to have the comic book suits, like very accurate suit. Even Deadpool got a lot more bright with his suit.
The chemistry is like unbelievable.
I think the other thing that's just so fun about it is that it's going to be it's going to be 2.5 hours, it's going to be a longer movie, and it's also going to be a time-traveling, fourth-wall-breaking Deadpool Wolverine movie where they're just going through different timelines and trying and just doing whatever, you know?
I was reading
It's
an
so
article.
fun.
Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman fucking around.
And it's so fun. They said it's like
I
all
was-
like,
I
yeah.
was reading an article that the movie was not going to get made, and they were trying to figure out how it would work and how the banter would work and all that type of stuff. And Blake Lively bought a ping pong table for them, and a lot of this banter was actually written
Just with them playing ping pong.
with them
pong,
playing
yeah.
ping
That's so
pong.
funny.
And it was like how their smack talk back to each other, back and forth to each other, and that's how a lot of the Sean Levy was like a lot of the movie was written that way.
I think
This
it's
is literally them just taking shots at each other.
It's them just taking shots at each other for like
and they both fit that so well. Where Deadpool, Ryan Reynolds is so like quippy and like sarcastic, and Wolverine and Hugh Jackman the whole time. I think Hugh Jackman's a lot more quippy than Wolverine, but Wolverine the whole time just like F off. like,
Yeah, the two characters that.
Yeah, Wolverine's not supposed to be that.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, he's not. He's the
Exactly.
yeah.
They don't care at all.
But even in the trailers, every time that he talks, he's like, dude, shut up.
The best part of it too is that on top of that neither of them can really die.
Yeah.
So like they can literally kill and beat the living shit out of each other.
Yeah.
All the time.
I know, and yeah, neither of them die either. It's so
And they're
funny.
super
It's such a funny combination. I don't know.
Yeah, what if they had a scene like that where they just tear each other apart
Yeah.
and keep coming
They've
back?
got
Because
it.
Deadpool
Yeah.
has seen everything, but the only person who's also seen everything is Wolverine. They've just seen, they've seen all this shit. They're like, all right, let's do this. I've been around for 200 years.
Like,
like,
Wolverine's been around for a
Yeah,
long time.
forever, like, he's like a-
Deadpool, and this is fairly new.
yeah, and this is an alternate Wolverine, I think, where his entire X-Men already happened and everyone died because he didn't save them, according to the trailer.
Yeah, the one trailer they showed,
Yeah,
they showed
according
the
to the trailer.
Wolverine like in a random field with all these like X-Men graves. Basically.
Yeah, like he didn't save it, and then so he's kind of down on his luck, I think, and then Deadpool was like,
It kind of feels like he's the
Wolverine
bottom of the totem
typically
pole.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Logan from our continuation that we've watched is dead.
Right.
I think this is not the same Wolverine.
I agree.
Yeah, but it's a very parallel Wolverine
Sure.
where the same events happened, just one key thing changed, and like he didn't save Jean in the end. The third movie, The Last Stand, or something like that,
Sure.
and everyone died, except for him because he can regenerate.
Right.
Awesome scene, by the way,
Awesome.
where he's like, and
Yeah.
he's like coming apart and then going back.
Not the greatest movie, but a great.
It's a great movie. Though. I don't know what you're talking about.
The third
It's
movie?
better than the next
Yeah,
two.
it's
It's
amazing.
better than the next
Next
two.
two,
It's so
no
good,
way.
dude. I love you, Gene. Oh man, and she's like,
Ripping them apart.
Yeah.
It's amazing. X-Men has had one of the greatest runs, and X-Men actually, people don't give it enough credit because X-Men has one of the greatest rewrites in a movie for like how we're gonna reset a universe, and nobody gives it enough credit, but it was like the most brilliant. writing.
Which one?
Days of Future Past.
Days of Future
Oh,
Past.
this is the whole scene.
Brilliant.
The whole storyline of that movie?
how they combine the two, they
Yeah.
reboot the universe and then they combine the two
Intertwine it,
universes and
and
intertwine them.
also at the same time made the best X-Men movie
X-Men
we've seen
movies.
to
Like,
date.
people do not give it enough credit. It is one of like
Most
it's
comic
like
book
in
accurate.
in
It
superhero movies that is hands down the best.
It probably
writing.
is top 5
Days of Future Past,
superhero
right?
made movies,
Yeah.
too. Just like quality wise, up there with like Dark Knight, I would say. And, like, it's just a good. It's just
It's got a lot of characters, too.
everything hit. Yeah. It has both the young and old. It's almost like what Deadpool and Wolverine was before. Everyone was like, dude, they're bringing the young ones, the old ones,
And-
they're gonna be mixing together. Now it's like
That's the thing. Is
And
that
technically, I think it's based in like 2024.
Yeah.
Or I think it's like somewhere around now.
the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, the beginning of it, and then it goes back to the 60s,
Mhm.
right?
Right, exactly,
Or
right.
70s,
back
yeah.
to the 60s.
I think it's somewhere in the 20s. They say.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
2020s,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Because the Sentinels.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's
everything.
one of the things right now. Marvel is struggling so hard with how do we actually do a multiverse? Like
Mhm.
they did it, man.
They did it, and they
And
subtly,
they did it.
not anyone like.
Subtly, they did it well, and you're not taking notes. You
Yeah.
know?
Well, now they have Fox. Exactly. This is also their first Fox film as well. So it's fascinating to see what elements they'll take from the universe
Mhm.
and see what lessons they've learned, but also intertwined with their universe. Like
Yeah,
I don't know. It'll be
it'll be good.
worth the watch.
It'll be definitely worth a watch. I'm excited for it. Even though I think that among most people should not show us that trailer because it was. I mean, although we have not seen anything for this movie, it's still like
Right.
it would have been a fun reveal without knowing. But like, is that
They
Sabretooth?
spoil too much.
Yeah. But I feel like there are a lot of characters that they're saving.
There's probably a lot of
I'm
characters.
sure there are, but they still spoil too much. Like there's, I feel like it's not even just Deadpool and Wolverine. It's just movies in general. Trailers nowadays, they don't leave anything.
They don't.
If they
To
were
imagination.
just cut
Or
in
just,
the middle,
yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
Like they just go like a minute too long.
Yeah.
They it's just studios in general. They don't leave enough. They want to make sure that they're selling seats, so they have to pander to everybody, and they want to be like, oh, this is gonna be here. Oh, this is gonna be here. Like, I get it, man, but we're all excited for Deadpool Wolverine.
That's why I prefer the teasers. Where it just gives you a good vibe and a couple quick shots, and then
That's
you're good
it.
to go.
That's what I was
If
gonna
you
say.
just need the teasers. I don't care about.
I like-
trailers nowadays. They're too big.
I like the directors or just editors who are like, we purposely put only the first 15 minutes of content in the trailer because then you guys don't know. You know?
I'd rather have that than like Marvel like going and like show us a fake trailer like
Right.
they do with Infinity War.
Right.
What do you guys feel about?
I'm okay with
like
fake
especially
Fake
like.
trailers?
Fake trailers are funny because they're wild.
They're fascinating
They're
because you kind
wild.
of forget about them
Yeah.
too when you see the
And
film.
you're like, that's
and
not
then after
right.
the movie, you're like, wait a second, the trailer I saw never even happened.
Yeah.
No. But how do you feel about like the trailers where they put in, like especially comedy movies, they put bits in that don't end up in the movie?
Don't know the
Like,
movie.
they'll do like an alternate.
Yeah.
Toy
take
Story 3, I think, was
I get
like
that, I
that.
get that.
Where if you watch the trailer for Toy Story 3,
It's totally different.
None of it
Yeah,
was in
it's
the
totally
movie.
different.
But it wasn't like fake stuff. It was just
No, it's
jokes
like-
that
it's
were
like
cut.
alternate
They just
takes.
cut it all together
So
in a weird way
throw
that,
the
like,
trailer,
yeah, no
but
one
then they throw
knew
in,
what was
like,
going
the
on.
new joke or this or that for the movie.
Yeah.
So it's fresh, but also you know, it's just like it's not actually that. Movie
I'm cool with that because
it's-
ultimately, Deadpool Wolverine, especially, is it's a superhero movie, but ultimately it's a comedy, an action comedy, and I don't think people realize how many jokes are written for these movies that are then either cut or reworked, But that's the
especially
point of
a
it.
movie like this where they're probably doing a lot
A lot
of
of riffs.
improv and riffing.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's cool. Like you get double the joke sometimes when the trailer comes out,
that's
and
it.
you get a fresh one when you see the movie.
Yeah.
A joke is just like a jump scare. You can only see it once, but once you see the jump scare once, I know the lipstick demon's coming every time now.
Yeah.
So it's like
It's like
it doesn't
wow.
hit the same. So once you hear the joke in the trailer, you're like, oh, it's not
No,
as
it's
funny
funny.
in the movie,
Yeah.
So I'm into that, but
Yeah, I agree.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, jokes are kind of like plot where like once you know what it is, it's not as good. But if the delivery is such on point, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Because you can watch it over and over and you're like, they just delivered it so well.
and that's why
where
we
the
can watch
emotion,
Tommy
that's
Boy over
where
and
the
over
story
again.
is.
I said that's why we can watch Tommy Boy over
Yeah.
and over again.
You know the jokes, you know the plot, but it doesn't matter because the delivery is so,
It's so good.
God, the quality of joke
The
is
story
good.
is awesome.
It's the quality of joke, yeah. Well, kind of jumping off this Wolverine Deadpool trailer, I've been kind of going around asking all of you guys what you guys are excited for. But since we're finally getting a Wolverine comic suit that we've really... Because we got teased in 2013, but he never actually wore it. He always wore the black spandex. What do you think he's gonna? Are you excited to see him with the cowl? Without the cowl more?
I'm excited just to see him have it on. I don't think he'll have it on for very long.
I don't think he will either.
For
But
maybe
the cowl will be
10
cool.
minutes, maybe, but it'll be interesting to see why he even gets it. Like,
Yeah, it's gonna be something like, Hugh. People have been waiting like 15.
Yeah,
Like it's gonna be a fourth wall
breaking.
thing where it's like, just put the mask on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It could be a fourth wall
I think
break.
they said he wears it for a total of like 20 minutes.
20 minutes, yeah.
Okay.
I'm sure like towards the
That's
end,
cool,
Spidey's
a little bit,
Yeah.
but you don't need it the whole time.
He also needs the face time.
Especially because I'm
Or
sure it's in his
Jackman.
contract
Right.
that we need to see his face.
Yeah.
Everyone loves Hugh Jackman.
And everyone knows
Well,
Hugh Jackman
also,
without the
what
mask.
about the
now.
whole like sleeves versus non-sleeves thing.
Yeah, exactly. I'm excited for the non-sleeves helmet
Yeah.
if that's gonna happen. 'Cause that's awesome. But I think the sleeves helmet would be cool, but
You think we'll see alternate Wolverines as well? Like we'll see.
I think they confirmed at least
I
3.
think so. I think there
So,
might be different
and
actors
if
too.
they're wearing the cowls or not.
I
Yeah.
think Daniel Radcliffe is
I think
gonna be
Daniel
one.
Radcliffe people said.
We'll see. We'll see.
I've heard Taron Egerton.
I've heard a lot. I've heard a lot.
Yeah, I've seen a couple people. I was- Yeah.
All right, this movie weekly this week. The first one actually is Furiosa. Furiosa is the prequel in this new Mad Max trilogy. It was in theaters for about 6 to 8 weeks. It was basically pulled from almost all theaters, and about maybe 2 weeks after that, it was put onto streaming. So this week we're going to talk about Furiosa the film, but not only that, we're also going to talk about streaming and theaters in general, and if we agree or disagree if we should wait a little longer on movies for them to come out in streaming, or if they should just come out right away. So, Furiosa, I thought it was a great film. It had some wild choices. I really enjoyed a lot of the vastness scenes, but some of the editing was a bit shocking to me. But
Shocking to say the least.
To say the least. A bit shocking in this, blockbuster film. But you kind of once you get a little deep into it, you kind of lose yourself within the world, and I think that's really what movies really come down to, is just losing yourself and really feeling what what's going on. Yeah.
I think they really did that in this one, push the feeling of the Mad Max world and the kind of 80s feel stuff, because some of it looked like old 80s effects, but done with new technology. And I'm not quite sure I liked it.
I could see that. I definitely was sitting halfway through that movie and I was like, man, this is really a George Miller, the director, George Miller. You're like, this is definitely a George Miller movie. And this is kind of the editing is a little bit wild, but it's like a Guy Ritchie movie. I knew I was getting into. I know what a Guy Ritchie. I know what a George Miller movie. I knew it was going to be all fast paced and wild and crazy zoom ups.
Randomly jumping at
yeah. And you're like, what's going on? It feels like a fever
It's
dream.
the next point in the story.
Yeah, and so did Mad Max.
Tree grow for a couple.
Yeah. In the editing, I think cinematography and color grading was awesome, and I think a lot of it.
Yeah.
But
like I said, there's so many shots that looked so beautiful, but could have been done with harsher light. To really bring that emotion that you needed for that scene of this is harsh. It doesn't have to be such a beautiful, soft looking image.
right.
And I get it. When you have a sandstorm going on, it's gonna soften up the light, so they have an excuse. But they don't always have to be in the middle of a sandstorm. And sometimes it's they had the lighting it was like a sandstorm, all soft and stuff,
Right.
and you could see the sand around them. But right there in the immediate, it wasn't a sandstorm. It was just clear. It's they were in the eye of the storm.
Right.
I felt a lot of the sand scenes, especially when they're in the beginning, riding on the bike in the sandstorm. That would hurt so bad. Your eyes, you wouldn't be able to see anything.
Just getting sand.
Sand blasted.
And
Yikes.
it would hurt so bad.
Yeah, going
when they're riding the
Yeah,
bike,
going
and
across-
then
yeah,
just the helmet.
Crosswind. Yeah, that would be a whole thing. I think it was cool that Furiosa came from a land of abundance with its tree, because everything in Mad Max, except for the first Mad Max, which is completely different from all the other ones, is very desolate desert. I was just going through the trailers for all the old ones after I finished Furiosa. I had fallen asleep. I was watching the trailers and clips from all of them, and the first one is just a little bit run downtown. It's still there's still trees around, and it's just biker gangs that kind of have taken over a town. But then after that, they the second one on, it turns into what we know of Mad Max to be all the hockey masks and goggles and
That's one of the
pale
reasons-
people and
That's one of the reasons
The
I'm
first one's just-
not sure why they're still making Mad Max movies, is because there's never really been a through line between it. It's a very strange franchise to keep going.
and
An abstract idea.
It's
that
yeah.
they're going off of.
And on top of that, it's not like he's continuing them. He rebooted his own series more or less, So it's like Steven Spielberg being Jurassic Park 1 was good, Jurassic Park 2 was not that good.
Mhm.
I think I'm gonna try it again.
yeah.
That's
That's literally Future Crimes or whatever. What's it called?
Future Crimes, the Cronenberg movie.
Yeah, he just redid that movie.
Yeah, he
Same
did. He
people.
literally just redid that movie. Yeah, it's I don't know. There's something.
Or
to be
Evil Dead. Yeah.
There's something to be said there, whether or not we think you should be able to have a second go.
Yeah, why do you get a second
so.
chance? Yeah.
I mean, that's how Alien was. It was by the time they got to the first Alien, it was the third iteration of that movie.
No, 100%. But if you look at that, I think it was called Dark something, Dark Stars.
It had a lot more changes.
Dark Star. It wasn't Alien.
It wasn't a reboot. It was a rewrite.
Yeah, it was an Alien, and it went through a couple of different iterations before it finally got to the main concept of Alien. But it wasn't like they made Alien and were like, this is kind of good, and then 20 years later, let's try it again, It was I don't know. So, more or less, I liked the movie, but I
It's
think...
also along the lines of them going back and re-editing stuff. They take the shotguns out of E.T. and give them walkie-talkies. stuff like that. Like, you know, once you
You
release
cheat
it to the
shop.
public, is it still yours to edit or is it theirs now?
I would say it's probably theirs now, with just ownership rights and such. But yeah, I think that overall I liked the movie, except for a 2.5 hour movie, I think it was an hour and a half too long.
Our movie.
Yeah, they could.
I kind of like the background story on Furiosa. I like the.
I like
the concept.
The concept. I'm not sure about the execution though.
It was entertaining enough to watch.
I really-
And be interested.
I was
but
really in for the first
Yeah.
hour. I was like, this is great. And then I really
that's about
lost
it.
me.
Yeah, I don't know. It was good, but
I do really love the connections they made between this and Fury Road.
Yeah,
though. Like
yeah.
The characters,
characters.
all of it. Like they really made the world feel like it never left from
Yeah.
Fury Road.
How about I got a hot take for you guys. How do you guys like Chris Hemsworth's character?
I think as I was watching that and Chris Hemsworth first showed up, I was thinking to myself, because we have this thing about the Avengers and we've got big filmmakers talking about how Tarantino talking about how we're not actually going to the movie, and Chris Evans is not the movie star. Captain America is the movie star, and I think to some extent, Chris Evans and a lot of the Avengers in general, they're not like Anthony Mackie. They're not amazing actors, you know. Like Chris Evans, we've seen.
They've got chops, but
No, Chris Evans we've seen. He was an amazing Captain America. I think the Captain America trilogy is the best trilogy out of the Marvel universe. However, I think that, coming off of that, he's kind of at this point of like, what do I do? Where's my lane? He's not good enough of an actor to go be and do these like great movies, but he's like too big of an actor to go back and do like little movies again. You know what I'm saying? I think Chris Hemsworth was quick falling into that because he also kind of got his break from Marvel, but I think that he got some chops. It was interesting seeing him in a role where he was wearing prosthetics and actually acting. You know?
I kind of lost it in the character.
Yeah, I did.
There was I was really glad he took and made it a character. He wasn't just playing the same thing. He wasn't just Thor in a different movie.
Especially because he's so beautiful. It's hard to lose yourself in him.
you could tell that he was also holding back on the quips.
Yeah.
But he did hold back. He had a couple of good quips where it was like, that seems like just a Thor movie or just a Chris Hemsworth quip. But it wasn't too quippy. I think he learned a lot from
He
Love
held
Thunder.
back. Yeah, Love and Thunder. I'm sure.
Mhm.
Had that not bombed so bad, he probably would have been more quippy in this. But he
Yeah.
learned I gotta take it.
Hold it back a little bit. Yeah.
And
it was a good
That's
mix.
why I appreciate that he really went for a different character and trying to become someone and almost doing kind of like the Johnny Depp thing where he just becomes the Jack.
I'm into that. And Chris
Mad
Hemsworth.
Hatter. But I went back and forth through the movie. Sometimes it was hitting where I was like, okay, he's this different character, he's playing well, and sometimes where I was like, it's not quite there. It seems more not the best acting. Is really just
You can still see Chris
playing the
Hemsworth.
character.
I would say I felt the same way too, but really in his villainous scenes, I felt like he really came through. I'm like, oh wow, he's like.
I think so too. I think when it was climaxing, when he killed Furiosa's mom and stuff like that, I think that you were kind of like, oh.
But was he a villain?
I don't think he was necessarily a villain
was
either. He kind of had her best
It was
interest.
very gray area.
I don't
It
think
was
he
a
was
great-
a villain. I
gray
think
area
I think
he's an anti-villain.
Yeah.
But, a lot of his intentions were good. He definitely did messed up things. The one guy straight calls him scum.
Right.
But they never would have taken gas time. They never would have gotten through. They never would have had success had he not done
he
that.
was
So
a leader. He's a leader in a
things.
civil war. It's you can't not do these things.
He did evil things, but a lot of the times it was in say quote unquote in the name of a good cause. So he's an anti-villain.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he just.
I think he actually had Furiosa's best interest
did.
in mind.
I know. I was thinking
The
that too.
entire movie, and I think that the only reason that's one of my issues is it was a 2.5 hour movie where Furiosa has this vendetta against Chris Hemsworth character Dementus or whatever his name was.
Yeah, I think it's Dementus.
And she's basically going through trying to come down and hunt this guy back down because he killed her mom, and ultimately he killed her mom without even knowing who she was at first, you know, and was that wrong? Yeah, probably. He did not need to go that brutal with it, off the cusp, but
Crucified.
yeah, he did not need to do that off the cusp. But at the end of the
fights it to death to help pull it apart.
That's what I'm saying. But at the end of the day, I think 2.5 hours was a little much for her hunting down Dementus over that, you know.
I think
It could have been, at least cut half an hour. Like, you know, a 120-minute movie, solid 2 hours would have been great. Or just like 100 minutes, a little over an hour and a half. They could have.
That's also George Miller, though. Almost all of George Miller's movies are about 45 minutes
too long.
But I do appreciate that also, where it's not so rushed, where they show the little world you live and breathe in it. Like the thing like James Cameron was really pushing with Avatar. It's like, you know, it's a long movie and we got a lot of shots of just like the world, but because we want to live in it, I just don't think it quite hit as well in this movie.
Yeah, I can see that. I think Chris Hemsworth's intentions really are summed up in that one scene where they're he's talking with Joe, the main antagonist.
Immortal?
Yeah, Joe the Immortal, white guy.
Immortal Joe.
With the plastic abs. I think when they're talking to him about when he first sees Furiosa, it's like, oh, I want you to come with live in the Citadel. And he's like, this is my daughter. She's not for sale. Like, you know, and he's like very caring for her and gives her like the teddy bear that used to be his kid's or whatever. And she's like, no, he's not my dad. He killed my mom. And he's like, yeah, but I had your best interest. Like, he's like still very caring for her, but just in a weird way, like a dystopian way.
He's like, I will slaughter your mother in front of you and make you watch, but
Yeah.
I'm also not going to sell you.
Yeah, even though like the way that he touched her at the end, he was like, I had your best interest. Like, it didn't seem like he was just like trying to get something out of her. He was like actually like, he was trying to get something out of her, exploit. But at the same time, it kind of seemed like that nostalgic factor for having a kid. You know, like he felt that nurturing. I think.
Yeah, I think I did say that because like there's also like the fact like he knew that she came from a line of abundance.
Yeah.
Like she's valuable.
Right.
But also it did go a little beyond just that value of like he actually did show some caring.
Right.
That was another thing that kind of got me throughout the movie is I think they got lost in the whole idea of Furiosa trying to hunt down Dementus.
And not too much.
Because the whole like 45 minutes was like, we gotta find land of abundance. And then they just like scratch land of abundance and nobody's looking for land of abundance anymore.
Couldn't find it.
I know, but
Where's it at, man?
Well, because they lost her. Like she disappeared. She, took the identity of a man in the colony and then was found out as a girl. And at that point, she was like so skillful and so
Old enough
people
to
just saying questions, like, no questions asked.
Mm-hmm.
So people had no idea that she
It was the same.
Was
a
child,
lot of abundance. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it is weird that like it was such a big focal point in the beginning, and then like because she did escape, like it just disappeared.
They give us like a whole Mummy 2 intro where they come down and like just in the middle of like a desert. This is a nice like flourishing place.
Yeah.
Doesn't talk about it again. You're like,
Never
oh,
brought back up.
Couldn't find it, did
Yeah.
you?
She never goes back. She literally has a map
Yeah.
on her arm. She never even tries to go back.
No, the map gets disappeared. Her arm gets ripped off.
she doesn't have the arm
She can never
anymore.
find her
Yeah.
way back home now.
That's right.
That is
But that was later though. She was already an adult when that happened.
Yeah, but she's
And
still
She
sick.
had that tattoo for a long
A
time.
long
Long
time.
time.
And she was like,
That was
she
like-
could have escaped at some
She was pretty resourceful when she was a kid too, though.
Yeah.
Like
That's
she
what
could
I'm
have
saying.
figured out, even being like 5 years later when she was like a teenager.
And she never.
When she was 10 years
tried.
old, she weaved out a
Yeah.
wig and then
Okay.
dipped out.
That's what I'm saying, you know? And it's like,
She got the car.
she was
She
smart,
gotta
she
figure out
was
something.
she's
She was
been
resourceful.
resourceful her whole life. She had a map for at least 25 years of her life.
And she
Yeah,
had
she'll
memorized,
rip
like,
that
she
shit
knew how to get
down.
back. She
Yeah.
even told the guy how to get back.
That's what I'm
wrote it
saying,
on
and
both
she
of
had
them.
it
But
memorized.
also,
Yeah, picture.
the guy and like the way he died, and especially a lot of like the gruesome scenes or what could have been gruesome scenes in the movie, they held back. It felt like more like they didn't want to go deep into the pain in the movie, and they wanted to keep it more lighthearted.
They
Right.
never do.
Like there were some things that they really could have gotten you with had they chosen different shots, but instead they kind of like pulled back a little,
Mm-hmm.
like really hid things so like you didn't have to feel too much pain in the movie. But
Yeah.
I think that would have been a good movie. Like let some harsh light and let like it's a desolate, gruesome movie.
It is, yeah.
You could
That's
go
one of the
on.
reasons-
Make it like that.
That's
Yeah.
one of the reasons I've never been a big Mad Max fan to begin with. I think Mad Max in general has been always kind of like, it's like a hit or miss, and it's always kind of been a miss. All of them for me, personally. I mean, I don't know. I think that,
I can get with that.
It's a cool concept. But
It's
I
a
think
cool
it was,
concept.
I
yeah.
wish it was just. I wish it was more gritty.
Yeah,
more-
but even
it's
the
not-
original,
it's not
even
fast,
the
it's
original
too
Mel
fast.
Gibson ones, they just never hit quite right.
Too
The
fast.
first one's like an Australian Clockwork Orange.
Mhm.
You know, it's like
They're all over the place, and you're just like you can't actually get into a group because you're always trying to catch up to the last scene. Still,
there's like no linear story really ever. Now in the new ones, obviously there's a little bit more of a linear story. I would say Fury Road actually doesn't have as much of a linear story.
It doesn't.
as this one did, but
this third one would probably bring it all together a little bit better.
I do.
We could get behind that idea, like let's just jump into the action, have a action film, and then we could go give a little more setup with the prequel, and if we do a sequel, we got all this history to play.
Yeah.
I do
I
think it was
just don't
cool.
think
I
it
do
was-
think it was cool how she ran into a road warrior, and the road warrior kind of gave her a little bit more in terms of becoming a road warrior.
Yeah.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
They did have like a little bit of a mentor in there and stuff.
Mhm.
But it was like so quick. It was like, I will, let you ride with me, no questions asked, because you got some skills. I gotta rebuild my crew.
Yeah.
2 minutes later, after a cutscene,
Yeah.
all right, you're good to go.
That's what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm trying to say is they literally talked about it. She was like, "Come back with me," and he was like, "I don't think so." All right, I'll come back with you. And then just done. They never talked about it.
It was just, there were some things that they could have played out more, there were things they played out too much.
They play out too much, and there's
They
sometimes
should-
the wrong
I
stuff. They
just-
play out too
They
much.
took some timing keys from Stephen King.
I think
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
I agree. The pacing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Coked
think-
up Stephen King.
I think that even if they would have gone back to this land of abundance in some capacity, and like even if Dementis finally found it, when he didn't have Furiosa anymore, he lost Furiosa to Immortal Joe, but he still kind of finds his way back there because it wasn't like it was hard to find. 2 guys found it, and it was only like a 2-day trip, or like maybe like a 1-day, journey from where their camp was at that point. So it's like, it couldn't have been that hard to find, and I feel like even if she did go back and found that it was maybe ravaged or something like that, finds out that it's Dementis, that maybe gives me a little bit more into being
That would be
like,
cool.
Yeah.
Into
That would be
being
cool.
like, oh, now I really hate Dementis and I need to
Mhm.
track him down and
You're
kill
right.
him,
You're right.
But I just don't think the killing of the mom was
Enough to warrant
enough to warrant
a whole life of-
lifetime of hunting this guy
Mhm.
down,
Yeah, they-
especially when he
they-
was
they-
actually showing care for her.
Mhm.
Right. It definitely has the.
I think it's still good motivation.
I was gonna say
It's not
it's
motivation.
still
Powers.
it's still
If
good
I needed to try to
motivation.
hunt that guy down, she would.
Yeah.
They could have at least showed a little more of Furiosa and her mom together before.
Or show me something else
Build
that
a little
Dementis
more.
does bad. That's like the only bad thing that he
Yeah.
does in the entire movie.
It's tough because in George Miller movies, like the other Mad Max movies and everything like that, it's a exaggerated version. So I think just the mom dying in a George Miller movie is a little bit less, or like a little bit not enough motivation. But in general, I think that would be enough motivation for a character. If it was like Old Boy or something like that, that makes more sense in that more grounded movie film. But
the context of this.
the
film,
context
though,
of this film, yeah, it's like people are dying every day. Like
Every
your brothers and
day.
sisters are dying every day. People have gotten used to this desolate. Like
and the people,
no one's
even
safe.
the people that live in a land of abundance understand that there's people out there like this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's like a common knowledge. It's
That's
the
why
world they live
she's.
in.
That's why she's so trained up from a young age. I mean, her Chris Hemsworth's wife in the beginning of the movie is like a sharpshooter.
Yeah.
She's a Chris Kyle. Just out here on motorcycles, just like bah.
Yeah, people like a mile away just
Yeah, moving 60 miles an hour, and
No
she's
problem,
able to
yeah.
knock him out. You know what I'm saying?
throttle on the motorcycle just pop.
So we already know that people are it's a war torn land, and
Yeah.
people are dying every day. And I
I think
get
everyone's
your mom
fed
died,
that
but
very early
in
on.
this world, I think they're
I
gonna
do-
die.
I agree.
I do really like how the ending really tied up with the first movie.
I
It did.
like how
It did.
Yeah.
Like straight into it, like
Yeah,
they just
It was
put
so
them
fluid.
against each other.
You could watch them. Yeah.
yeah, it was
Back
so
to back.
It's
fluid.
cool, but overall the movie just feels like you're watching the idea someone had for the movie
Yeah.
versus the fully fleshed out movie.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
So Connor, do you want to hear about some food?
Yeah, I want to hear about some food.
All right. First of all, how do you pronounce this?
Jujutsu Kaisen.
Jujutsu Kaisen is coming out with the new McDonald's sauce. Did you see that?
No.
Yeah, a ton of them, right?
Yeah, look at that.
McDonald's sauce.
Yeah, it's a new garlic sauce coming out next week.
They're all gonna be themed, right?
Yeah, they're all different covers, but they're all different. They're
But
the
there's
same
one new
Yeah.
sauce.
It's one new sauce. I've never seen Jujutsu Kaisen.
I'm
Have
surprised
you guys seen
did.
it?
Oh yeah, I
It's
read
so
Jujutsu
good.
Kaisen.
Oh man.
I know they did an anime sauce earlier
Yes.
this year or last year, right? Did you try that one too?
What anime was it for?
I don't. I think it was like McDonald's anime. It was like
Oh, was it?
yeah.
I know that some McDonald's around the world did a collaboration with One Piece last year, but that was the last like anime collaboration I've heard. I don't usually go to McDonald's and like get the toys and stuff anymore. I'm not really following that, but like I mean, like the Szechuan sauce, obviously I'm gonna try it out, and I'll try this one out. I've been following this one kind of too.
Yeah. So the first one was called the McDonald's sauce. It was just this sauce.
Oh yeah,
I remember that one.
Yeah.
McDonald's.
It was just like a generic anime.
Anime?
Where this is like the first collaboration
really.
of sauce. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And that comes out July 19th or July 9th, I should say.
It's weird. I wonder why
Do
they're
you know
doing.
what kind of sauce it is?
It's a garlic sauce. It said.
Just the ghost. Okay.
Yeah.
I wonder
We'll try it.
why they're doing Jujutsu Kaisen, because we're in between seasons right now. I think the one's coming out.
Right.
The last season just came out a couple months ago.
No
And-
sponsor.
Yeah. But usually they like to coincide with a drop of something big or
Right.
a TV show coming out or something like that. I don't think there's anything coming out.
I've never seen the show. I just
It's very good. You should
Is it
watch it.
good?
It actually
Okay.
is pretty good. It's one of the
I did see the crossover in Fortnite.
Yeah, well, speaking of that was when the new season came out.
Okay.
That one did coincide.
Okay.
But I think it's of the last 10 years, one of the people think it's like up there with like Demon Slayer and My Hero Academia. You guys probably heard that.
Okay.
It's up there with those where people like love it a lot, like too much for my liking. Like, it's good, but it's not that good.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Speaking of sauces, though, we also have a couple new sauces. There's a groovy sauce from Sonic. It's like a marinara and ranch sauce. Very interesting.
Weird.
Yeah.
I'm into that though.
Yeah. I'll give it a try.
I'll try it.
Taco Bell on July 18th is coming out with a jalapeno ranch nacho fry.
That sounds good.
Yeah, you like nacho fries?
Yeah.
I like nacho fries. No.
Jalapeno ranch.
Yeah, that sounds good.
There's like a sauce over it, or is it
Yeah.
a flavoring?
It's like instead of the nacho cheese, it's the
Oh,
Actual
that's
like
cool sauce. That's
jalapenos
cool.
sliced and
Maybe.
jalapeno chunks.
We'll find out on the 18th.
Yeah.
A couple other little things. Lay's is coming out with the tzatziki sauce
Mm-hmm.
flavor. That sounds so good. I'm a big gyro guy.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, I love
Yeah,
a good
yeah.
gyro.
Also, a couple new drinks is that there's a pineapple Pepsi at Little Caesars.
Mm-hmm.
The new Mountain Dew Infinite Swirl came out at 7-Elevens. It's like a pineapple berry. So good. And lastly, I have is that potato cakes came back to Arby's. Have you guys ever had those?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they got discontinued for like 4 or 5 years.
Oh, a while. They were gone.
I'm a big potato cake guy.
Cakes.
I haven't been to Arby's in forever, but
I haven't been to Arby's.
might
in
give me a
years.
reason to go back.
I love a good Arby's sandwich. Yeah.
So the Boys is an Amazon original series. It's on its 4th season, and it's the middle of its 4th season. I believe there's only 2 episodes from recording date right now. So we've watched episode 6 recently all together, and we'll talk a little bit of that, and then we'll go into our movie weekly. But then each segment we'll talk about the movie, the show, the series, or the film. The first segment we'll talk about it non-spoilery. The second half all spoils. So, how does everyone feel about episode 6 of The Boys? No spoilers.
No
Right off
spoilers.
the bat.
What am I supposed to do with no spoilers?
Yeah.
You can
I'll
tell
give an overview of what I
An
know.
overview.
Just say
Yeah.
spoiler alert right now, and let's
I
just
think-
dive
I think
in.
Just go for it
Yeah.
because that's gonna be hard to not do.
Yeah, overall, there was a couple times where I definitely literally laughed out loud. It was better than the previous episode. There are some great character developments that I did not see coming. There are some interesting moments that I wanted to see more of, but never
Yeah.
got the fruition to.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Well, you kind of enjoyed the episode.
Man, I loved all of them. I
I love
love all of them so
I love
far.
all
I
of them.
think
Yeah.
There's like not
They're all
bad
good.
episodes.
There's not.
No, there's no filler.
I think we were
episodes.
just talking about
Yeah,
that.
we're just
There's no
talking.
filler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
like
one of the shows that's the most consistent newer shows of today.
every episode just hits a groove.
it's
There's
so
not even
smooth.
filler
too.
moments either.
It leaves you wanting to watch the next episode. Like right
Yeah.
now.
Even the filler episodes are not, or the filler scenes are like still kind of come back in some capacity.
But I'm not surprised. At least personally, like I'm fanboy, so are Chris.
Yeah.
And also teaming up with Seth Rogen.
And-
like, what
yeah,
the fuck
yeah,
is
that'd
that?
be great.
Supernatural seasons 1 through 8 are amazing.
Yeah.
You know,
The first half.
It did start to dip off for a while, but
It goes back towards the
back
end.
in the last season.
No
of
way.
Supernatural.
well, that's what I'm saying.
It was good. It was
But
yeah.
seasons 1 through 8 was like that.
Yeah.
Not a
Yeah.
dull moment. You know,
Yeah.
season like and they wrote that for 8
Yeah.
seasons.
What about Gen V though? You think Gen V should have been kept in there?
Yeah, I think Gen V is a great compliment to the boys. I think going forward in this last season too, they've been kind of
They integrated
into
it a little bit. Yeah, they'd shown not this past episode, but the last episode, episode 5, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
They finally showed a couple images from the characters of Gen V. And I mean, I guess a little spoilers if you haven't watched Gen V up to date. So in this Gen V show, they had framed these group of students for this crime where the heroes of the incident were the actual villains.
yeah.
So classic boys scenarios, and some of the characters were actually in the same room too.
Yeah, in the boys now, it gave me the same feeling watching that I watched when I watched the boys. I think, which a lot of like spin-offs I don't get that, but all the way through Gen V, I was like, that's awesome because it's just gory R-rated superhero stuff, which is I don't know, it's very.
It's awesome because like if you actually had
Fascinating
powers like
concept.
It's
that,
fast. Yeah.
there'd be a lot of mayhem too.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like they address it a little bit in like the Avengers, like oh the whole city's destroyed, we gotta rebuild it. Like
Right. They really deep dive
but
into it.
Boys really shows like no, there's people getting fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's people getting their head
The
blown.
elaboration on the aftermath in the boys
Yeah.
universe
Very.
is great.
Yeah.
Great.
I think it still got that luster for me, or that it's not lackluster for me yet. As much as I've seen, like especially with Gen V, now I've seen like 50 episodes of just people getting their heads blown off and like giant penises like choking people out and stuff. And it still kind of gets me though. I'm like, this is still like crazy. Like when we're watching this,
I am glad that it's over.
I'm happy that they're pulling like a Breaking Bad where they're not going to pull it out too long. They're just going to drop it. They're just going to cut it off, and they know when they need
And
to
it's
end
season
it.
5 we're done.
Yeah, and then it's cemented as awesome
And
forever.
it doesn't just drift off into oblivion.
Well,
They're
that's-
like, they know like this is the last season. We don't have to leave
Right.
loose ends. We can tie everything up. We can, have
We
fun.
can really
It's
And they're doing it on their terms
they-
too.
The last season of Supernatural was they knew they were
Yeah.
ending, and it was one of the best seasons of the past,
Right.
like the last couple of years of the show.
Mhm.
And so with Eric Repeater again, setting the final date, they're gonna be able to pull off an awesome final season and
Absolutely.
just end it on a bang.
Yeah.
We say that now,
Don't get Titan
but then we
syndrome.
also just raved about Wolverine coming back. So at the same
Yeah, it's a
time,
different Wolverine. It's a different Wolverine.
But I would say even
die, man.
it's
Even if they come back, at least like they'll end it well.
yeah.
And they can still come back, but at least
That's
it doesn't just drift off into
Yeah.
oblivion.
Well, I think
That's the same thing as Logan. Like I think Logan was a fucking awesome ending.
right.
That's what I'm saying.
Just because we're seeing the last of the boys show doesn't mean we're seeing the last of the boys universe too. Because Gen V, I'm sure, is gonna keep going. And then I think they have another spin-off show that's
In the works.
in the works. I think another one's in the works now. From that
It
same
might be a
year.
Homelander prequel.
A Homelander prequel, like that one Diabolical episode was
Yeah.
very cool. I think diving more into that would be fun.
I do always like going like back to a prequel because like when you start a story, a lot of times you're in the middle of it because it's fun. You jump in right into the action, you get going. But then like once you know what's going on,
It's
learning
fun
the
to
history of
learn
it,
the
going
history if you
back
like
is a
it.
cool next step. Whereas like that's why I like trilogies where you start with the second, then go to prequel, and then you can do a sequel too because you also have extra backstory to build
Right,
on for
right.
the sequel.
The last two.
Yeah.
Yeah, though I was disappointed as far as Mad Max went with that plan with Furiosa.
With Furiosa, I think that's the general consensus I've been hearing too.
Before Furiosa, let's go to spoilers about the boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, official spoiler.
Official spoilers of the boys, episode 6, season 4. Web Weaver, hilarious, super kinky, apparently. I thought the direction of this episode and the writing was absolutely hysterical. The whole organic webs, but coming out of the butt, also.
Yeah, second hole.
Yeah, second hole, yeah.
It's a back.
Second hole.
It's a tailbone.
I would love to see Web Weaver though, like fly around or like Tech Knight in a suit.
Never gonna see that.
Never gonna see that again.
That was my 2 disappointments. And is
Yeah.
Web Weaver dead now? Did they kill
No,
him?
no. He said he was out for 48 hours.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Okay.
just shot him up with a bunch of rupees up his butt.
So he's
Okay,
still alive.
so there's still a chance that we could get this guy to see his
Spider-Man
power.
around.
Yeah, and that was one of my disappointments. But the other one is I've been telling
I
this.
still don't think you're gonna see it, so you can remain disappointed.
I don't think we're gonna see anything.
Yeah,
else.
he
I'm
may not
still
be coming back.
majorly disappointed about it.
He
but,
was in the video game though. What Weaver is in the video game.
He is in the video. Yeah. Which is
The-
cool that
the
we
Bible playing.
actually got to see it. Well, it's
Yeah.
not actually him; it's Huey, but.
I think the best thing I love about this last episode was seeing Homelander trying to pull his like same like mass population control, where he's like talking up like just stupid stuff.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
when he's in this room with like these high profile
Yeah.
people, and they're like, no, like we're not falling for those same tricks. Like we actually want to know what's going on. It's
They're
like,
asking
oh
real
wait.
questions.
Yeah,
I know
that
answers
was
to
that
these
was a cool
questions.
scene.
It's
Where
like
it's like
another big crack in his psyche.
yeah,
Mhm.
and it's great because he can kill them all, and everyone knows that he has the power to kill them all, but they also all know that they need him to stay in power because they gotta
He's
have
powerful.
the politics on his side too to keep him in power, or else no one's gonna want to follow him. So he's kind of like, I can't kill these people.
38% of the GDP in the same room.
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
He's like, oh man, I gotta learn some new tactics.
Yeah.
It's like the same.
You can't just
stunts
be
I've
like
done.
Tyrant,
Don't work
yeah.
on these people if I want to keep climbing this ladder and take this new direction.
Yeah. It'll be
He's really
fat.
put more cracks in his psyche. I
Exactly.
think there's a really
That was
good
fine.
path to follow
Mhm.
for showing his breakdown.
And at the end, it kind of flipped too, where he was dependent a little bit on Sage and really did not like Firecracker. But now it's kind of the opposite, where now
Or
he's
it's
like,
Firecracker. And
he's like Sage.
I think Sage is an
She
idiot.
pulls
Yeah.
power moves.
Oh, Firecracker was so smart in this episode.
I like how
Oh,
every
smart.
season they throw a new superhero in there that is only for that season. I'm sure she'll die by the end of the season. Or she'll die eventually, between this season and next season. But that is like a big play, like Stormfront
Yeah.
and Soldier Boy, Firecracker.
Oh yeah.
I just have a question.
It's
Like,
cool.
was his milk obsession ever public knowledge?
No, but remember
The elevator.
Sage.
Yeah.
Sage told her,
Oh.
you better get, or you better start
Yeah,
lactating or something like that,
yeah,
because
yeah.
if you want, yeah.
And
I
Firecracker.
actually want to do something for him, like start
Yeah.
making milk in him.
Which is
Yeah.
funny because I
She
guess
said it's a joke, but I mean,
Well,
Firecracker
then
must
she
have
took it
been
actually took it
serious,
seriously,
yeah.
and it worked.
Yeah, it worked.
But it's
See
funny
how long it works.
because you know how you see some like screen rants about the comics and differences. It's funny that one of the things I saw was that Homelander doesn't have an obsession with milk in the comics. It's Mother's Milk,
Oh really?
who drinks milk to, and he has powers, Mother's Milk in the comics, and that's how he keeps his like strength is by drinking his mother's milk.
Oh, so that's where his name comes from.
Yeah, that's yeah. And in this, he's called Marvin Milk. It's actually his last name. But I think in the comics, that's his code is Mother's Milk
Interesting.
because he drinks milk. That's not Homelander.
Every time, so the boys, we talked about how they don't have any lull moments, but there have been a couple of points in this season that have given me where I'm like, that doesn't feel right, you know? There have been a couple of points in this season, but I will say they're really good about when I start thinking about that, almost guaranteed 2 episodes later, they're going to course correct.
Yeah.
So like Jeffrey Dean Morgan was one where Jeffrey Dean Morgan, when he shows up, and it's not even like the writing in the show, it's actually just Jeffrey Dean Morgan, I think. He always feels fake
He does.
in everything
And everything he's in.
When he showed up, it took this, world and it made it feel like a CW show for me.
Interesting.
Yeah, I can see.
that.
I can definitely see that.
And as I'm watching it, I'm like, it just doesn't feel real. Well, come to find out, it's not real.
Yeah.
Okay, great. You
Yeah,
course
I think they
corrected
played that
that
really
one.
well, where like it wasn't obvious, it wasn't spoon fed to you that like this guy is like not actually there's a hallucination, but also
He's just as
there was
crazy.
something a little off about it, like you said. So that like looking back, like oh, it makes sense. It wasn't quite all right.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Like it played that line.
He's got the
really
perfect
well.
devil and angel.
I was gonna say I think what the best thing about this that not like people are putting together I think but not as much as mainstream is that they're setting up a crazy Homelander and also a crazy Butcher by the end.
Yeah.
They're both gonna be like insane by the end where they're both like I'm dying, I'm crazy and dying.
It's gonna be scorched earth, like they said.
And he's like his one thing is I gotta kill Homelander. And then, like, Homelander's one thing is, like, I gotta be the ruler.
So now that Butcher
Or just be in
knows
power.
even more how crazy he is because he realized,
Yeah.
like it was a hallucination.
Yeah.
Do you think he's just gonna keep following what he's doing? And
I was gonna
go
say,
crazy?
now that he's
Do you think
aware of
he's
him being
actually-
crazy?
Now that he's conscious he's crazy, he's
Yeah.
gonna
Come
be
back.
able to pull himself back
Yeah,
a
I
little,
don't think
or
so.
he's just over the edge and gone.
I think now that he figured out that his original mission was to save Ryan, but now he's just trying to kill Homelander. Now he has this.
Well, originally it was to kill Homelander, then it was to save Ryan.
And now
it's like he doesn't have time to
kill
get
Homelander to
Ryan
save
back, so
Ryan.
he's like,
So
I gotta kill
convoluted.
Homelander again.
But now feel like
But now he's like drifting more into just kill Homelander. and
Because
Ryan
that will
doesn't
save-
as much.
Yeah.
But now he has
Butcher.
this power where he has this disease that can kill every suit.
Right.
Well, he doesn't have it.
Well, he doesn't have it, but he has the power.
He has
to get
the
it.
knowledge.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think he has the power to even get it just yet. He just has the knowledge, right?
And somehow he still has the power to
Guy
explode
who
people.
You can.
but doesn't want to.
And he said it would take too long, anyways. You know.
Yeah.
Months, yeah.
And it would kill everyone, including him
Yeah,
too, and
exactly.
Brian, and Huey, anyone with the blood in them.
Mm-hmm.
So like anyone who's even shot up V, unless it's completely out of their system, I think would probably die too
Yeah,
in this
it was
situation.
Like, people taking temp fee and stuff like
Mhm.
that. Like, will they be susceptible to it?
Right. I think that's what we kind of figured out is anyone who has it in their blood.
Mhm.
So I think even the people who have the temp, like I think Butcher would die if it went out.
Yeah, but he's dying anyways.
But he's dying anyways. He doesn't care. But Ryan is one that is a pure.
That's the thing, is,
bred
like, I think that's the
superhero.
one thing holding him back from just
Yeah.
killing all soups, even though most of the boys at this point would die.
Right. Kamiko would die.
In their system.
Starlight would die. Yeah, they would.
I think that's not enough to hold him back. Where as far as he's broken right now, but Ryan's like that one
He's
last bit
gonna
that
die.
might keep him
Huey's
from
gonna
just
die
killing
if he
all
still
the
has
soups
shit.
and going after the virus.
I mean, he still had
I don't
his.
know.
Yeah,
He's
and his
still
blood.
I think Butcher just needs to cut his losses and go find Maeve.
Maeve's dead.
No, it's not. They faked her death.
Did they?
Yeah, it was a fake death, and then she dipped out.
I don't know. We'll see. I bet you that'd be a cool. Yeah, I did not remember. I thought she
No,
definitively died, but if she comes back, yeah, that'd
at
be
the
kind of
end,
cool.
her death was faked,
Yeah,
so Homelander wouldn't come after her.
I will say that they even kind of address that whole I'll kill and all like the genocide thing where Jeffrey Dean Morgan's character is like, I thought you said you wanted to kill them all, and he's like, not all of them. Like he's like, I don't want to kill everyone because it's still killing. Like he doesn't want to kill people. He wants to kill people who deserve it,
Right.
not like soups who just live their life.
I think there's a small crucial moment from the last episode when Starlight came in, and now there's this huge, like Homelander. There was that leak, and now Starlight's coming around. He's gonna get super agitated with the boys.
Oh yeah,
So there's a pinnacle coming with that.
yeah.
So what do you feel? What's going to happen with that? Do you have any?
I feel like they've always been in a crazy annoyance to
Yeah.
Homelander, and he has not done anything about it.
Oh, anything
No,
like
he,
four
he,
seasons
he
where
could
it's just-
definitely
he could
put some time
literally
into it and be like,
That's what I'm
alright.
saying. He could literally, if
Yeah.
he wanted to, he could just go find them.
Correct.
I mean, it's not like they're hiding. They have an office building.
Yeah, they're like in the Daily Bugle.
They're not hiding. So.
They got an office.
Yeah, so it's like he could easily just go cruise in there and just be like boom, done.
Yeah,
you
just
know,
check out the
but
entire building.
for some reason he just doesn't do it.
Do you
Well, he
think?
almost did at the one point where it was him and Butcher, like they had the whole scorched earth deal, and he showed up with Soldier Boy, and
Yeah.
he was beat up at that point, and Homelander just lasers him. He's like, I thought it was gonna be scorched earth. Okay, deal's over, and he would have killed him right then had he not been beat up.
Yeah.
that's
Right.
true. That's exactly So,
Yeah.
but I don't think he's coming back.
But I don't think he sees
too
it.
easy.
It's an annoyance for him. I don't think he really cares that much. And I think it's going to the
Until
point where, because they're calling off all the boys in his team, but he doesn't really care about his team. He's like, whatever. Like I'm still like stronger than all of them. Like
No.
I'm better.
Yeah.
I'm smarter.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
do you think? Do you think A-Train will survive until the next season, or do you think he's
No.
dead?
Adrian's gonna die.
A-Train's dead this season.
This
And
season?
the last episode of the season,
I don't
Adrian's
know.
dead. I'll put money on it.
No.
I don't think so either.
I think Deep's staying alive. I think Adrian's dead.
I don't
See, I like the way what we saw from Deep in this episode of him really starting to realize like he has powers, like he's starting to get more vicious.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
he's
Yeah, where he's
not quite as just like a dummy comical character. Like I want to see if they keep going down this path and
Yeah.
really like thrust the Deep into like doing something.
Yeah, the parallels between the Deep and A-Train are fascinating too, where they were both at this moment together with Homelander. There's just three of them at the end
Right.
of last season, where now A-Train's kind of becoming this really
even when the guy
decent
smiled.
person.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
kid smiled when he
deep-
saved his milk. Yeah.
Exactly. A-Train's becoming
save.
an actual
And he was
save.
like, okay, I feel I like that. Yeah.
A-Train's becoming this like actual decent person, where I feel like the Deep is becoming much more of a evil man. He's like, killing gives me a hard on, like he's just right on that. Like he's just becoming this more and more
He's
evil
more-
man, and he knows he has powers too.
Yeah, like A-Train and Deep were kind of at the same level
Mhm.
before, and now the Deep is drifting more towards Homelander, whereas
Exactly.
A-Train is drifting more towards like the boys
Mhm.
mentality.
Yeah,
So it's cool to see like these similar characters splitting on
Yeah.
like the same level.
I
exactly.
just want to see A-Train give me a flashpoint moment.
He's never gonna give you a
Yeah.
flash. He's not
Thanks
fast
for
enough for
back-
that, man.
Yeah.
Unless he starts pumping V again,
Yeah.
and then does a flashpoint moment, that'd be kind of
He
cool.
does have a new heart, so.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
That's not how
saying.
things work.
Just, yeah.
Just let him run fast enough, man.
A-Train.
If someone runs
He might-
fast enough, he can
he's
just
the
see
savior.
it.
Can Homelander go as fast? Have you ever seen
He's not as
Homelander?
fast, I don't think. He's the same thing as the Flash, I think. Well, I don't think he's at. Maybe Homelander's as fast
feel
because
like-
they're like play-ons, but
I feel like we've never seen Homelander like travel at a speed like that.
flying.
No.
You've seen him like.
He's
You can
got
see
a
when he
lot of-
when he lifts off and he like blows everything around.
Sure.
You know he's got some speed
He's
behind
got
him.
a lot of the same powers like a Superman character, but you know they don't go into
Yeah.
the extent.
Mm.
Of
That's what I was gonna say. I don't
They
think.
don't. You know, he's
Well, that's the
So I
thing
think
about.
it's pretty good correlation. Like Homelander, Superman, A-Train is the Flash, and
Black
the
Noir.
Flash is Flash and Superman. Right?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's one by parallel standard.
That's what I'm saying,
Assume,
so-
but we don't know because
That's a interesting point because we really didn't know Tech Knight's powers until this episode where he was talking about he's like Sherlock Holmes.
well.
on
If you watch
crack.
Gen V, you know.
yeah,
If you
true.
watch Gen
Tech
V,
Knight doesn't have
you-
powers apparently in the comics either. He's like Batman,
Is he?
exactly. It's just like, yeah.
Yeah.
He doesn't have that super sense.
Mm.
He's just a rich guy. So,
Yeah.
but I think it's cool that they gave him that power,
Yeah.
the sense power. That's cool.
Yeah, senses.
No, he does in Tech Knight in the show does, but in the comics he doesn't have any
Oh, I know.
powers. He's just like Batman, like a worse Batman. And Iron Man makes, yes.
And then Black Noir would also be Batman.
Be like a bat. He's like the Batman character on the
Mhm.
Seven.
Now, how do you think about Black Noir? He was about to leave for Branson, but I feel like the Deep kind of talked him into like
His stance.
playing this role of a serial killer, not really wanting to kill people, but like the Black Noir character is clearly this actor that wants more from. He's always asking, what's my motivation? He's
Yeah.
kind of like,
So what was
you're supposed to shut up, man. But I feel like Deep really talked him into just like playing the
Playing the
character
part.
of a serial killer.
Really
I-
talked him into it.
Yeah, I think he did.
I think he at least put the idea in his mind
Yeah.
that can be flourished or bloomed.
Yeah.
I wasn't really sure watching like what way he was feeling
Right.
about it because it was focused more on the Deep of showing like
Right.
where they
His
said he's at.
yeah.
I think it shows much of like how Black Noir actually.
Well, let's just
took
see
it.
next Thursday.
Yeah, I guess we'll see.
I'll just see. But I think Black Noir, speaking of it, is a very funny character in many senses. Like not only physically funny,
Mm-hmm.
but I think that he's a funny character because, well, not only is he a different Black Noir than we have seen the last couple of seasons, like every season. It's also the same actor, which is so funny to me that they just kept the same actor and just actually gave him a voice.
Mhm.
So it made him two different characters with the same guy.
Yeah,
He's been the same guy. He's been in every episode.
yeah.
But I think that's super funny about Noor. And then also, I had just watched with Connor the first or some Diabolical episode. I never watched Diabolical. I watched the first episode only, and then like last week I think we watched Homelanders. It was funny. I never knew that Black Noir was the leader of the Seven until Homelander came around,
Yeah.
and then he took over for Homelander took over for Noor. But Noor was originally the leader.
Didn't they talk about that in the early season?
They might like in passing talk about it, but there's actually in that
so
one
much happens in
origin.
the show. It's so hard to remember exactly
Right.
what
I
happened.
think we do another watch. I feel like I picked up so much.
Yeah.
And the original Black Noir is the reason that Homelander is still top because in that episode, which is probably I'm assuming canon because it's everything, it's all the same producers and
Right.
stuff, same voices, is that Noir. Remember how did you guys watch Diabolical?
No. Well, yeah, I did actually.
That last episode, it's like a 15-minute episode,
Yeah.
but he ends up Homelander is like this actual Superman character in the beginning, and he wants to help people, and he accidentally kills everybody, all the hostages, and he starts to go crazy a little bit, and you see it, and then Nora's like writes down on his paper, he's like, you didn't mean to kill them all, or one of the bad guys shot a gun at like one of the explosives and blew everything up, like you didn't do anything, you know, like telling him to lie, like pretty much this is corporate, like you got to keep your image, not.
But he was trying to kill him. He was trying to kill him before he tried to say that.
He was trying to, yeah. But Homelander was trying to kill him because he thought that he was going to turn him in for killing everybody. But then Nora's like, no, this is how it works. Everyone dies usually. Like, this is just how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, just take it.
Especially last season too with Soldier Boy, they talked a lot about Noir being kind of like the main center after
character.
Soldier Boy disappeared.
Yeah. Nora's been around long.
Yeah, I'm surprised he was number one hero. before Homelander came around.
Yeah.
He was number one.
It's like a ninja, man.
Like a ninja.
Yeah.
What do you say? Black ninja? Yeah.
Do you even know Black
Do
Ninja?
you even know? Yeah.
Mute is the face of the seven.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Exactly.
He's so funny that he talks now. He's such a good foil to the comedic, the deep in A-Train and the Homelander. It's done for you like,
It's
what the
almost,
hell was that, man?
it's almost like Deadpool comical.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is.
Like,
And like the deep is just like stupid, and A-Train's like, this is how it goes. I'm so sick of this. Like, and everyone has their own dynamic with like all this killing and stuff, and it's so funny to me.
Yeah. Anything else on the boys?
Just like the personal thing of like watching the Jeep. He's kind of a similar character to the character Chase played in Gossip Girl.
It's exactly the same. It's so funny. But still, anyways.
So our next segment is called Solo Missions. This is just kind of basically what people have discovered on their own and what they kind of are doing individually. So Trev, you want to start? What have you been watching or anything you've discovered?
Well, that's the problem is like I'm in a little bit of a show black hole right now because I just finished Dark Matter and that's what I was keeping up on.
Dark Matter.
It's all over. It's done.
Is
It was
it
good. It was a good first season. Like if you haven't seen Dark Matter, you should check it out.
A good first season.
I'd like to watch it.
Stellar first season. What are you talking about?
You want to give a quick overview of what Dark Matter is?
Yeah, it's a science fiction show, so it goes over like the concept of parallel worlds and universes, and that like you can enter a black box and enter like basically a quantum state of being able to go between all the different versions of what your reality could have been, you know, based off the choices you made in life and where you would end up. It's so good.
It's on my list. It's on my list. I know. That's the one you're in, right?
he only
Yeah.
Aren't you? Yeah, Chuck's in there.
It's not a biased opinion. Like it's
Yeah. Wait, aren't you in that? Yeah.
Like,
So good.
multiple, like,
Yeah.
even though like I'm in like 10 different scenes, half the time that wasn't even on my mind. Like there's scenes I was in that I watched and totally forgot I was in because it was
Yeah.
just that engrossing and good.
Yeah.
I would start every episode looking for Trev, and I would about 10 minutes in just totally forget about.
Forget about Trev.
It's a good, it was a good show, and it was it was actually number one on Apple the entire run. I think at the last episode it got knocked down to number 2 because Presumed Innocent came out.
Also very good.
But
We've been watching that.
it was number 1 on Apple the entire run. I think even now still it's been off the air for 2 weeks now. I think it finished 2 weeks ago, and I think it's still at number 4
Yeah.
right now. On
Yeah.
It's a
Apple.
solid show.
Josh, you been watching anything or reading anything?
Yeah, I mean, Dark Matter was amazing. Definitely watched that one, and it was fantastic. I have been reading Joseph Campbell's The Hero with a Thousand Faces, which is a book that looks into basically drawing a through line through all mythology throughout all of history, and kind of what are the core concepts from different, or I should say, what are the core concepts and how they are all relate to, they're all telling the same story, basically. Joseph Campbell was, spent his life doing that, and he was basically, the foremost brain on mythology and story, and was actually good friends with George Lucas, and George Lucas based a lot of the concepts of Star Wars off of this book itself.
Yeah, because this is like it's like a deep dive on the hero's journey concept of story making, and like everyone says Star Wars is just the hero's journey, and so many movies are, but yeah, going through this book, because I'm about a quarter of the way through this one also.
Yeah.
It like in the specifics of how deep dives you could really see George Lucas pull from it, especially going back to like the base mythologies, like he's naming planets after
Yeah.
planets that are in like the first mythology ever written.
I was. Yeah.
Well, specifically, you just jump into like even like the first 3 pages, and Joseph Campbell talks about, just like in passing, it's not anything that has any sort of importance. It's just because what he does is he'll break down a little bit about what this chapter is about. So it's like the call, basically. Second chapter is whether the hero answers the call. Third chapter, or if they refuse the call. Third chapter is if they answer the call. But even in the first part,
he just goes through a couple of different mythologies or myths just as examples. One of the ones that he brings up is he talks about an immortal character who is like it's from China, I believe it was, and the character's name was Han something.
So
And like this guy read this book and he was just like, oh, I need an immortal badass character. Oh, Han, and he just literally strips the name from it,
like, oh, I need a planet that like a significant character comes from. Oh, Naboo, because
Yeah.
it's like Nibiru.
It's the same. He took a lot of it from there, and I think he took a lot from the actual text itself but I think more so, I was just telling Trev this, that I think as you read this book, and I'm only 3 chapters into it right now, but I'm already kind of grasping that, I think that what George Lucas was actually trying to do, and I think this relates back to just good storytelling, and one of the reasons Star Wars has stood the test of time is, I think what he was trying to, as he's reading this book, he's thinking to himself, if Joseph Campbell wrote this, 50 years from now or 60 years from now, would Star Wars be referenced in this book? Would it be a part of this book? And I think it would. I think that Joseph Campbell would be using Star Wars as reference in it because it has a lot of the same core values, key concepts, and that all myths have said for, so I think it's great.
It breaks it down well too, by showing like, okay, what is the main point of why we've told stories? We've told stories for
Forever.
centuries, forever.
It's the most ingrained human.
And it's like really breaks it down like, oh, like most stories, it's because you need to grow as a person to learn a lesson. Like there's just so many like coming of age stories.
yeah.
Because those are lessons that are good to learn, and so you teach them through story.
I was going to say that I've never personally read the book, but I know what the book is, and I know that there was the ties between George Lucas and Joseph Campbell, and it's very heavily based, it takes influence from the Hero with 1,000 Faces, Star Wars. But I think everyone here, except for Josh, Josh even keeps up to date on Star Wars usually, but I feel like everyone else here, even including Josh again, knows quite a bit about Star Wars. But I've read for a long time. Cause I'd like to read this book because I've read for a long time on different pages that you don't actually understand Star Wars as much. You can see everything Star Wars, read everything Star Wars until you read this book because you see it in a completely different light and you actually get the fundamentals of it versus just the face value of it. So
And
it's definitely on my list.
One of my biggest issues with Star Wars is that it just seems like it was all made up on the spot, and there's obviously been a lot of changing of hands and then changing of, the core concepts where the filmmakers don't understand the core concepts because maybe they never read this book. But I think that in the beginning, the original trilogy is by far the strongest and strongest realized vision because of this book. And then you kind of lose traction or lose, a little bit. You put the blinders on, you lose a little.
There's a little bit more Star Wars. I think as it's gone on through the years, it's opened up story wise.
It's
so much
gotten
more
away.
narrow.
It's gotten away from the concepts of
Because
this.
the original
book.
trilogy was based on Hero with 1,000 Faces and like the story structure, and then when it was continued, it wasn't based off like the fundamentals of storytelling. It was based off this world that was created, and it didn't have quite the same foundation.
Right.
Yeah, so I've been reading that, and I think that's amazing, and I recommend it to everybody. I've also been going through the Walter Isaacson Steve Jobs book again for the second time, and I think I also recommend that to everybody and anybody. And then I also just finished The Big Door Prize on Apple TV as well, and it's a corny show, but God, I love it.
The Big Door Prize.
Yeah.
I've never heard about that one.
It's got Chris O'Dowd. Yeah.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
And it's so corny and so silly, and it's like it's produced by Apple, so it's an Apple TV show, and so it has Apple money, so it's like a big budget, like it kind of reminds me of like a Schmigadoon, kind of minus the musical, but that kind of like acting and corny quirkiness, But there's a large mystery throughout the entire thing. And it's basically what it is this is a small town, and this everybody kind of just kind of going about their life, and everybody kind of knows everybody in this small town, you know. And everybody has their, when you get into a small town like that, everybody has their own individual ideas of each other and who they are, and it's hard to break those. And then all of a sudden, this like arcade game pops up out of nowhere overnight in this convenience store, and everybody's kind of like, it's the talk of the town. Everybody's like, what is this?
Yeah.
And the owner is like, even like, I don't know where it came from. They can't get rid of it. They don't have any power for it. I mean, it's just, like, they can unplug it and it still works, you know? So they try a bunch of different things. But when you go in it, you hit the button and it pops, it's like a Zoltar, and it pops out a card and it gives you your potential. And it tells you what your potential is. And now it basically spins this town into a spiral where everybody's like, oh, my potential is actually magician. And it's just like one word. So it's like this guy, these people will just like uproot their entire lives. You know, people are getting divorced. People are just like, they're uprooting their entire lives because this is what I could be, you know? Mm-hmm. And it really follows Chris O'Dowd's character and kind of him struggling with his potential and his life and his marriage and his, you know, job and who, you know, where he is in life and so on and so forth now that he has his potential.
Cool. And that's like a new spin on like the idea of like the movie Gattaca, where
Kind of.
people are manufactured with their genes, and it's like, oh, you know, like we can put these genes in you so that you have like this glass ceiling. And stuff. And then like the whole story follows someone who wasn't gene edited, and he's like, I'm gonna push through. I have no glass ceiling. Like I'm not just what you say.
And that's exactly what it is. Is like you kind of come to this point where they realize that overall, you know, your potential is what you are and what you do, you know. So this last season just finished, and each season ends on a pretty big cliffhanger. But it's good. I recommend it to everybody. I think, you know, it's definitely corny, but it has a solid enough mystery that keeps you engaged. So
yeah, for people who don't know, Josh is a sucker for Chris O'Dowd. So.
I am.
Anything
the Sapphires goes too hard.
There's a little bit of bias there.
I'm a sucker
Anything
for Chris. Who doesn't love a lanky Irishman?
No, lanky Irishman.
Tim, what have you been watching?
I've been watching a slew of things that I've not finished. Primarily, I've been watching this Apple TV series as well called Sugar. It follows the main character, a PI, who is played by Colin Farrell. And, you know, actually it's a very grounded show where he's a PI, and a Steven Spielberg-esque character in modern day, I believe, or maybe a couple of years past, present, future, or whatever, around this time in LA. And it's very Chinatown-esque, where the guy drives around like an old Mustang. He feels like an old soul, you know, and he's a PI in this like gritty like noir town, but in LA's LA, there's always some stuff happening in it. But this the Steven Spielberg-esque character, who's older now, comes to him and is like, hey, my granddaughter's missing, and his kids, and then his kids are all like very big. It's like a like a Schwarzenegger, like they're like a family, like a heirloom of big actors and big names. Yeah, the Coppolas, like big names, and they're all in this movie and movie business. And it's actually another the director of Godfather, like Francis Ford Coppola, I would say, character. His son is a big director as well. He's like, oh, she just gets coked up all the time, you know, like dips out for cool. Like this happens all the time. But the grandpa's like, there's something's different. It's like she usually will call me for money or something. So it's about him just trying to figure out what's going on. And it's very grounded. For some reason, he knows how to fight, but they never actually explain it. And every time he gets in a situation, he's like, I don't want to hurt you. And they're like, I got a gun to your head. Like, it's happened like 4 times. And then out of nowhere, he somehow ends up disarming them. And you're like, okay, you know, whatever. And then actually, I have 2 episodes left. And
is it completely out?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's 8 episodes. I'm on episode 6. And actually, there was one scene where I was watching it this morning. Cause I watch it on Saturdays or Sunday mornings because that's really the only time I have time to sit down and watch my own show too. Because, you know, as you guys know, starting a startup is not really doesn't give you a lot of time to do what you want, past the time. So you have to either do it in the middle of the night or early in the morning.
That's
You
why
want-
Sunday mornings.
You want your own time.
Sunday mornings for me
Yeah.
is my adventures with Superman.
Yeah,
cartoon morning.
So I've been going through really slow, but the last they like to end on a cliffhanger at the end of every episode, and there was a cliffhanger that is so far out of left field. It's not even the same genre anymore. You're like, oh wait, and
Did aliens just show up?
it's definitely. It puts together why he knows how to fight and stuff, but at the same time, you're like, that's a stretch to put that in the same show. I had to rewind it. I was like, what just happened? But
Alright, so end of episode 6.
it really changes the whole entire show because I've been saying, I've been going through it for the last couple of weeks, but it also feels like just a generic Apple TV Plus show. Like it's good. It's not great. It's like Lacey's Story or something like that. Yeah. Defending Jacob, where it's lackluster and it's
Jacob.
good. It's good and it's a quality show, but it's just lackluster. So it feels like a long show.
One of the worst endings.
And it is one of the worst things, but we'll talk about this. So I don't want to too much of a tangent. But yes, I would say check it out, especially this last episode 6. I think it's going to go in a cool direction that I did not expect. So it's very cool also just editing-wise because it will flash in between certain concepts where they'll be like in real time having a conversation, then it'll flash back to like a MGM 1930s movie, or something like that, like a classic movie, like Chinatown, like a black and white, just to kind of also give you that feeling, like of that scene that everyone knows, or like it'll be like him and the one he plays against a lot. Another protagonist is Holly from The Office. I don't know her real name, but she's been in stuff. But he will be talking to her, and then in between it will just have intercuts of like Casablanca and like him and like the girl talking in Casablanca, and you're like, it kind of gives you more of a feel of like that old like noir.
Yeah.
It's good.
Sugar it was a pretty successful show, right?
Yeah,
It's pretty high on the Apple
It's
TV.
still top 5, and it came out I think all in April.
Yeah.
Top 5 in Apple
I know, I've
best
heard
selling,
some good
but
things about it.
it's fun. It's fun.
Presumed Innocent's number 1 right
Presumed
now.
Innocent is number 1, which is the other one I was going to talk about. Was we kind of all started that. Josh threw it on, and as Josh does, he either leaves or falls asleep when we throw a show on. So ends up all of us watching the show.
Yeah.
And we actually ended up watching the first 3 episodes, right, sitting there, everyone, and we have to get back on the last couple episodes, but that have come out since. But it's a remake of that Harrison Ford movie from the 90s, I found out. But it's a very pulling, interesting story. It's cool. I like it a lot.
Also
It's
starring,
a-
Baby Reindeer.
I was going to say
It's a remake of the Harrison Ford movie from the 90s.
Right, yeah.
Presumed
yeah.
Innocent.
Presumed Innocent. It's the same situation.
Starring Jake Gyllenhaal.
It's starring Jake Gyllenhaal. But included in the slew of things I've started but not finished is Trev and I started Baby Reindeer. That one is getting kind of crazy too. That one's fun.
Wild.
That one's wild.
Especially since you're saying the guy who's the main actor
Is the-
actually lived this story.
In India, it's so
He wrote
crazy.
it, correct?
So you can really feel that emotion by it. He knows
It's
what
an
the emotion
exaggerated
was.
biopic.
It is.
Yeah.
To the point where they're getting sued now, but still, he at base value, he wrote it. He knows how the character's supposed to feel. He lived it, so he knows how the character's supposed to feel. So you can really feel his emotion, how he actually felt. It feels really organic, not like someone acting.
Yeah.
And
It gets wild, like it gets visceral. Like,
Yeah.
when you're watching it.
yeah, you're like,
It's on Netflix.
It is.
yeah, and they're like half-hour episodes.
Yeah,
but it gets,
no, they're longer than that.
are they?
Yeah, some are a little longer.
40,
Yeah,
40
40
minutes.
minutes. But there's like 10 episodes.
It's engrossing.
30,
Yeah.
40, but it gets dark.
Yeah, I finished it.
Kinda
I finished
like,
it like the first week it came out, but it gets really dark, really intense pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Yep. And then 2 more things really quick is I've been going through, these are my long treks that I've been going through for at least a year. And I've been reading the books, the Dark Tower series. I'm currently on the Wind Through the Keyhole, which is like book 4.5. Stephen King, who's the writer of this. And for people who don't know, Dark Tower is like the Lord of the Rings for Stephen King. And they connect like it, The Stand, and Misery. It connects all of his books together. if you read all the books and compliments to the main Dark Tower universe. But he ended up finishing it, I think, in the 90s or late 80s. I think he finished the Dark Tower actually. But then in I think 2014, somewhere down the line after the books ended, he came back and wrote like a 0.5 book in between two of the books, and so now I'm kind of in continuation reading that one right now. But altogether, I think it's 7 books, and then also even longer books are the ones that kind of diverge, like The Stand, which is I think one of the longest, just best-selling books ever. I think it is the longest number
Went
one.
Through the Keyhole came out in 2012.
2012, yeah. Best-selling book. It's like 4,000 pages, something like that. Like I think he had to. His editor was like, we can't. We wouldn't make enough money because we'd be printing off too many pieces of paper for these books. So you have to cut it. And he actually came out later on with a full uncured book version, where it's just I think it's like 800 to 1,000 more pages.
As he does.
Uncut, yeah. And then like it as another one's like 3,000, and those are the kind of the meat of it. But they really play like Pennywise. His species is a big part of this tower.
Where he
tower.
comes from, why he's
just a
doing
little
what
bit
he's
of,
doing.
Yeah, exactly. It fits so much better together if you read all the books or watch all the movies that Stephen King writes with compliments to it. But it's a very fun ride if you like Stephen. If you like that horror aspect, but you also like westerns, but you also like Lord of the Rings. That's like the combination of all three of those together.
Yeah.
It's very fun. And it's one of those ones where I purposely don't watch it, or I don't read it a lot because I don't want it to end. Because it really is fun to read them all, and by the time when it ends, I don't know what I'm going to do with my reading as much because this is such a long trek I started. But I definitely recommend checking it out if anyone wants to check it out. It's awesome. And then the other one is
Just be warned, it's going to take up a couple of years of your life.
yeah, at least.
Yeah, if you do start it, because it's not just the Dark Towers. If you want the entire thing,
You gotta read all
need to dive into
other
some
big
of these
books for
other, Stephen King books. So.
Yeah, but it's super fun. It keeps you engaged the whole time. I think every book gets better to me. And then the other one is
Except for Insomnia.
I'm talking about through the Dark Tower. Not Insomnia. Insomnia is pretty rough. I've started that 5 times. yeah. For some reason, we had the most copies of any book of Insomnia. But it's tough, man. But and then the other one I'm watching right now, which I've been watching for like a year now. I think actually in like 2 weeks that I've been watching it for a full years. I've been going through One Piece, and I kind of took a break at episode like 1,000 now, which is still 100 episodes behind because Connor actually started watching it, so I'm going to wait for him and then catch up. But that's another one where I don't want to watch it all the time because it is such a good story, partly because the writing's very good, partly because you start to grow with these characters. You've been with them for 1,000 episodes, so you're just some of them got to be a hit. Some of the arcs got to be hits just because there's so much content. And it's one of those ones where when you start it, you get to like 300 episodes in, and then you're like, this is too long.
Yeah.
And then you get to episode 900, and you're like, it's not long enough because it started to pick up, actually. I don't want this to end, actually. And so I have taken a backseat on that, watching that, because I'm waiting for Connor to catch up
How
so
many
we can watch
episodes
it
is it in
together.
total?
I think it's at 1,100, a little bit over 1,100 now, and
They're still going.
there's plans to
It's
end
no
it
Days of
next
Our Lives, but it's
year,
up
maybe?
there.
Right, some Days of Our
Yeah, whatever. Days of Our Lives also has 30 years on it.
Days of Our Lives has about 14,500
Oh, yeah.
episodes, and they're all about an hour.
Yeah,
long.
they're like long
Easily.
episodes.
Who's
Funny.
funding this?
Yeah.
I don't know.
How has this been going on since the 60s?
Yeah.
Who's funding this? How is it so hard to get a good superhero movie or a good movie made, but Days of Our Lives
It's going
been
at
running
millions
since the
and
60s
billions. Yeah.
weekly.
It's because like every hospital nail salon is playing it.
I
I know.
Literally,
There's
every
so
day.
many views in the background. There's so many
Gyms.
Latino people who
Yeah.
just throw on Days of Our Lives.
Yes.
It's a very Latino show too. But yeah, I mean, you got so many views still with it. Even the rerun, I don't think it's going on anymore.
But no, Days of Our Lives.
Is it?
They actually.
My
just
grandma used to watch it. I remember that. Yeah.
About 6 to 8 months ago, I think they finally got off of daytime TV and they're officially exclusively on streaming now.
I
But
didn't
they're
hear that.
still doing
They're
it.
still doing it.
But they're still doing it. But so One Piece, is it gonna end anytime soon, or is it gonna keep
We don't know. There's a lot of speculation saying that they want the manga, which the comic, to end this 2025, but I don't. There's still quite a. We are. It's weird because the writer of it has kind of given us a roadmap of where they're going to end and how many, just through like different people picking it apart. How many? Every arc they jump to a new island and they're trying to get to the last island, kind of. But we know that there's this island they're on right now, which could be anywhere from 30 episodes to 300. Some of the arcs are very long. And then they have another one, and then they have the last one called Laugh Tale. But so we are nearing the end.
Now,
Of like the 20 islands, we're at 17
I need to
right now.
know, as a One Piece aficionado, self-proclaimed,
Mhm.
is the live action the only good live action anime show? Because Cowboy Bebop sucked.
I think Cowboy Bebop had potential. It's
Death Note.
It's better than Death Note. No, I think live action One Piece is awesome. I think that it's definitely the best live action anime adaptation that we've had.
Ever.
And I mean, not only ratings, but just continuality of it, just the continuity, just how close they stay to the source material, manga. But they actually, speaking of that, they actually did just release a bunch of set photos because One Piece season 2 and 3 are being shot back to back, but season 2 filming just started like Monday, I think, and they are going to be doing Alabasta, which is really cool. And they have a set photo of like Zoro with the
which is one of my favorite things.
It's very fun. It's gonna be all deserty.
You get into these animes, and a lot of these animes have, for me personally, I'm not an anime person, but one of the reasons I'm not an anime person is because they get so wild so fast.
They do.
So unbelievable. But I think that in order to do it well in a live action, you need to kind of adapt that wild and kind of lean into it. And I think that building big sets like they do for the live action One Piece, it puts you right in that world a little bit more. So I'm interested.
It'll be fun.
I'm into season 2.
Season 2 will be fun, I think. And we're gonna get introduced to Robin, which is another very big character. So yeah, no, I'm excited. I'm excited for it. I like all the castings for the live action. I like all the acting. The guy who plays Sanji's awesome, and he actually kickboxes. But Connor, what do you got?
You watching anything other than One Piece?
Not really. My time's really consumed with work and all of our projects that we're doing right now, so it's hard for me to find.
Yeah, being One Piece 1,000 episodes plus.
Yeah, he's probably looking at that one too. Yeah,
It's only like 20-minute episodes.
with the
20 times 1,000.
it's like 15 with the 5 minutes of
That's so much
intro.
Yeah.
It's like a 5-minute intro. It's like 6 minutes in. You're like, all right, start it. But yeah,
I'm watching One Piece,
One Piece.
One Piece. Cool, Forrest Gump.
which is
One Piece is a different
I've been
thing.
watching One Piece.
no, that's what it's called. That's what the
So they cut out all
short
the filler, right?
They cut the filler out.
cut the filler out, so they call it One
Instead of
Piece.
recapping the
Instead
episode.
of recapping it
and
all.
Well, they do the movies after a season. They'll do like a movie, which is like a condensed version of it.
Yeah, but it cuts out so much.
It's the same thing they did with Attack on Titan.
They cut out so much of it. It's just not even like watching. At that point, I don't watch it. I just watch it regular. Because, I mean, you get the gist of it, but
Then also I'm reading my marketing book, which is very interesting. Just kind of showing you the reality of what marketing is. What? The natures of it all.
It's awesome.
This like deception, fabs, truce. Yeah, I'd have to grab my notebook. I haven't finished the book yet, so
Yeah.
I'm still working on it.
Sweet.
A couple of other books follow.
That's why we're doing this podcast right now, because of marketing.
Yeah.
Only reason we're doing this.
Only marketing.
The only thing.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I've been watching a couple of things. I just finished the season of Smiling Friends. Season 2 just ended. So hilarious. It's Adult Swim's one of their best shows since I can remember. Maybe since Mr. Pickles, but it's the animation style and the integration of animation together is something I've never seen before in a show. Like they rotoscope, they do claymation over the already existing animations. They do like live action segments of people and they throw into animation. Like, yeah, not only is that super cool, but like the writing and the stories are just so funny and so just like quick, and they're only 11-minute episodes, and there's only 2 seasons, so if you're looking for like a quirky little show, I would definitely recommend it. Total Drama actually came back. I was a huge Total Drama fan back in the day, back in like 2007, 2008. I used to watch that all the time. Like 15 years later, they finally are rebooted with the same creators, not exactly the same cast, but the same creators are still doing it. And I always loved that niche, really just rough, thick lines of animation. And
Yeah.
I think they really put a name for themselves. And it's cool to see them back. So I've been watching that every week, and it's very like Gen Z based too, and they use a lot of lingo and a lot of different archetypes that are in today's society.
Yeah.
That's why I watch that to stay hip.
Exactly right. It's my way to stay hip with the kids
Stay
nowadays.
young.
Total Drama Island.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta watch
Keep
the
up with the young
Alright, stay hip.
generation.
Exactly. And then lastly, I want to talk about is the Acolyte. The Acolyte is a Star Wars show on Disney Plus that takes place 500 years before Episode 1 in like the High Republic of the Jedi, and the set design and the costumes are so cool, cool. But the dialogue, the characters, and just the overall story that they're focusing on is just so abysmal to me personally. Like the aesthetic of just the old regalia and the planets are so cool, and the Wookiee Jedi, like awesome ideas, but they choose to go on this story and this tangent that like does not fit the script that I feel like. But I don't think anyone else has seen The Acolyte.
I only watched the first 15 minutes of the
Yeah.
first episode.
I got turned off to it because everyone hates it.
Yeah.
And I was so excited.
Right, this is the first time you're hearing about The Acolyte. There's a huge backing that a lot of the original Star Wars fans do not like it because there's lesbian space witches.
Well, the Space Witches have been around. I don't know why everybody hates them.
They have been around, but,
They have
but
been
not,
around,
not
yeah.
in like.
Like, they're not new.
They're actually in the.
using the Force to have a baby though.
Well,
That's
technically-
also that's
Is that
also
where all that
that's
comes
that's
from?
Anakin.
Like R2D2 being a lesbian and like that stuff.
Yeah, no, it's Kathleen Kennedy, her whole self. But yeah.
I don't think they were ever specified as. I mean, it was a woman race of like witches, but I don't know if they were all like specified as lesbians.
Right.
But maybe I didn't know if they were just asexual.
I
or
think-
what, but
I'd like to watch it. I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan,
So it's
but I would like to watch it just because I want to see what all the hype's about. You know? I
it's
feel
it's like Madam Web.
I feel like Star Wars
Yeah.
fans hate Star Wars, you
Yeah.
know, and then I think it's kind of like a Zack Snyder thing where it's or like even a Nickelback thing where it's easy to hate on something, especially if everybody hates something. And I'm not saying it's not bad; it might very well be trash, but
I want to put Nickelback
The
and Zack Snyder
Justice
in the same thing. Like Nickelback's actually good.
well, they are good. They are good.
It's
People,
probably like
what happens
Yeah.
is somebody says they hate it, and then people gravitate towards that, and then everybody
Yeah,
just
people just love to hate.
follow to hate, you know, and then it's easy to write bad reviews
But
when
I
you
think there's
actually
good
hate something.
reason
But
to
I'm
hate
interested to
Star
see if
Wars.
Acolyte's actually as bad as everybody's saying it
We'll
is.
It was subconscious
Or
bias,
if it's
but everyone
or if
hates
it's
it.
just bandwagon hating, you know.
I mean, I've seen every episode. I love Star Wars. I love, The Mandalorian was great. Some of the new stuff is good.
Season 2 was good.
I like all Mandalorian.
Boba Fett
It's slow.
Boba Fett's-
It's slow points,
It's
but
slow points. Sure, Boba Fett is
I'll sit
slow,
down.
but it's good.
taking over.
But Acolyte though, the story is just so diverted from what I feel like represents the old Republic. I felt like this is what was gonna be like. Like the Phantom Menace. They're showing the worlds, the people, not really focusing on one story other than Anakin. Where this is like the story is totally encapsulating the world around it, which is just not usually fine, but in this case, it's not.
Is this kind of in the same Old Republic as the games?
no, it's not nice to overlook.
And it's at the same time though.
Yeah.
But it's in the same time
Yeah,
frame.
yeah.
Do you play the games?
I've dabbled, but I've never really.
Those are some of the
gotten
best
into
Star Wars
It
games.
Oh,
is
yeah.
still today. Still
Today, those are some of the best
Oh,
Star Wars
yeah,
games, and that's one of the reasons that
Mhm.
because that I've been wanting an Old Republic
Yeah.
type show. So, again, how can it be that bad?
Exactly. That was my same thought too before I started it because I didn't.
You
First,
saw it.
and then I watched it and I was like,
You
oh
can't do
wow,
It is that bad.
oh wow. Yeah, because they're really just focusing on a pebble when there's a diamond behind them, and they're just.
Well, I know that Disney's been pulling some stuff back, and they've been saying we need to get back to
Basics.
focused art and basics, basically. So I'm interested if this might be the first step in
Kind of pushing back.
and like this might just be a pebble in the water right now, and the ripple effect will then spread out. So maybe for instance, when I watched, and this is a hot take too because not a lot of people like these movies, but when I watched Alien Prometheus, I remember being in the theater being like, this is absolute trash. But then when Covenant comes out and I watch Covenant and Prometheus together, I'm like, wow, this is a fully realized vision where I get Prometheus is awesome now because it has the context of
That's fair.
Covenant, So I'm wondering if maybe
They'll do like a Knights of the Old Republic movie or show,
something
and kind
that
of like
comes out
pull it together.
later where it might pull it together, and if this might just be the pebble in the water, and without context it sucks, but in the bigger picture it might,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay.
We'll just have to wait and see, I guess.
I guess we'll just have to wait
Yeah.
and see.
And I do feel like they're shorter episodes too than like The Mandalorian. They're only like half hour each.
I've heard the last good thing to come out of Star Wars is Andor.
Which I also have not watched.
I've not seen Andor.
I liked Andor.
I wanna watch
I just
Andor.
recently watched Andor.
Yeah, that's next on my list. Is Andor.
Andor it's a slow burn, but it's some of the best dialogue and some of the new Star Wars stuff in a very long time.
Yeah.
Cool. I think that we do need to pay a little bit of respect to John Landau, who passed away today at
Yeah,
63. Producer of a lot of James Cameron films. Without John Landau, Titanic would never been made. Avatar. would
Avatar,
never
both
been
the
made.
Avatars.
And I think it's even more of a testament that James Cameron being such a notorious, critic of his own work and work in general, dreaming big and doing grand scale things. It's got to be hard to produce those films. It's got to be hard to work with James Cameron on those things and get a vision realized. And I think that we owe him a little bit of respect and credit for that.
I think so.
With gratitude, absolutely. Those blockbusters, man, insane.
Yeah, especially when James Cameron, where it's like every movie is, we're going to try to make something where the technology.
Yeah.
We're gonna make a groundbreaking movie.
Every
It's
time.
hard,
Every time.
It's hard. So,
Moment of silence for him.
died too young. Died only at 63.
Yeah, that's sad. Yeah, I just saw the post where he did his hands at the Chinese TLC Theater for Way of the Water with James Cameron. Yeah, so
All right,
he's
the
got his
last
hands
segment of the show that we're going to do is just it's a fun one for everybody still listening. Tim, would you rather have flies follow you everywhere or a slime trail everywhere?
there. Flies or a slime trail? Like how many flies are
Three
coming?
flies.
3 flies?
If you kill them, they come back.
So just 3 flies at all times.
Mm-hmm.
Are
They
they
can
like?
land, they can fly, whatever.
Are they buzzing around me?
Sometimes.
Okay. And the slime? How much slime is coming off me?
It's
Is it like a trail as footprints or?
It's like in your feet. So if your shoes or no shoes, you have a little trail coming.
Oh, just like slime, stuff in slime.
But you're not really you don't feel stepping in slime, but you leave a trail. You're not walking any differently. You don't feel the slime. You just leave the trail behind.
I think that was easy.
I would say honestly, I would say the flies.
Yeah.
I would say the fly. Oh no! You know what? I don't know. I would say the slime maybe because the flies would be annoying if they're
So
always
annoying.
around and you're
You can't-
stationary in bed. You're just hearing
Correct.
3 flies. But when I'm working, there's a fly in that room. I can't even like it
Imagine two
annoys
other
me.
ones.
It annoys me to the point where I'm like I need to kill this fly after this call right now because I can't even hear anything. It gets in my head.
What if you're like presenting a meeting and
Yeah,
you're
and
like,
it's like bzzz.
There's
Even
three
if people can't
flies,
hear it, it's just
three
annoying to
flies,
me.
yeah,
So I don't
flying
know.
around you.
And if you can't kill them.
you can kill them, they come back.
Yeah, but if there's not a cooldown, if they come right back again, then I would take the slime probably, unfortunately.
I think the
Neither
flies
are good.
It sucks. I hate having flies buzzed around me, but I think that's something you could get yourself to eventually like filter out.
Just filter out, that's fair.
Just ignore. Whereas like the slime, you're constantly leaving that. Like,
Mhm.
It's gross. It's,
Yeah, clean up. You gotta clean up everywhere you walk.
Eventually, people will catch on that you're the one leaving the trail too.
Yeah.
Like, really, flies. If there's constantly flies buzzing
Yeah.
around, I could play that off somewhere.
Like, oh,
For
free
people,
flies.
Whereas if I'm leaving a slime trail, people be like, dude, you're gross.
Yeah. And not everyone knows that they're following you specifically, so you can
Right.
just why are there always flies? Or you can just play off
Flies
it and be
around
like,
here.
dude, there's flies again.
Man, there's a lot of flies around here.
Yeah, why are there so many flies around here?
True.
Yeah.
That airplane would be rough.
Oh yeah. But that wouldn't be
People
your
like,
problem.
people would be like, what are these flies on?
That would be everyone's problem.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be like, oh, they're following me.
Yeah,
You'd be like, there's three flies in here.
People end up trying to kill the flies, so you end up just with a giant pile of dead flies on
Correct,
the plane.
yeah.
They
It's
just
like-
appear out of nowhere.
How do flies get in here? Yeah.
Keep coming. Just keep coming.
Yeah, it's so.
They're like
Yeah.
spawning in the bathroom
Yeah.
and flying out.
I probably would take the flies honestly after that.
Flies.
Yeah. Well, I got the age. I have the one of the age-old ones. This one, you know, it's been going around forever. But would you rather take a needle and put it between your toenail and kick a wall, or what was the other one?
That's rough.
The other one was I think it was stick a needle through your eye, but through the jelly of your eye, so that it's.
Toes.
What the hell?
Toe?
Yeah,
Toes.
yeah, toes.
But to the point where it doesn't actually like
No.
fray anything in your socket.
Toes.
No, I'm not fucking anything with my eye, dude. Yeah, fuck that.
Dude, that toe would hurt.
Yeah.
That would
It would
hurt.
really, really hurt.
Like, I've dealt with stuff like that. Like, I got a splinter right now in my hand. It's like quarter inch thick. Like, you can see me poke it up and push it out.
Yeah.
Like, getting stuff shoved through fingers and toes.
It's fast.
It's gonna be so much easier.
I was gonna say
than
the toe thing, kicking the wall, it's fast. It hurts, but it's gonna be
It's
like
gonna hurt like
I've
a bitch.
stitched my
pain.
thumb before. Like, it
Yeah.
wouldn't be that bad.
Yeah, that's pain.
But an eye is a whole different
Whole
ballgame.
ballpark, dude. I don't know.
Whole different ballgame.
Psychological aspect, you can try to do it, like keep your eyes still so you don't damage stuff. Like, I've worn contacts since I was like in kindergarten, so I'm pretty used to putting stuff in my eyes. But
Yeah.
even then, like a needle trying to go in,
Yeah.
that would be tough.
Ooh, you just feel it every
Yeah.
inch of the way down because you want to push it slow.
Yeah, no way, dude. The toe for sure.
So,
Yeah. Josh, if you were given $2 million in cash right now, and you were never able to poop in a toilet again, would you take $2 million?
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude. I want you guys to realize that pooping in a toilet is a fairly new luxury.
Right.
I'm okay with the $2 million.
Yeah, that's why I said two. Yeah, that's what I'd say too.
We've only been pooping in toilets for maybe 100 years.
I go dig a hole.
I think I'm okay.
Yeah.
Not pooping in it. Like out of the history of 100 million years
But
of
what do you-
humanity,
Do I still get
we
toilet
live in the
paper?
100-year gap
Yeah.
where
Then I'm
Just
good.
keep
I'll
it
put it
where I have a
outside.
toilet. I'll take the 200
Well, what do
million.
you do at a
Or
concert?
the 2 million. What?
What do you do at a concert?
What I do at a
You
concert?
can shit on the ground.
I would hold it.
oh, concert would be the easiest place. You go in between the rows of porta potties
Yeah.
and just drop the
Just
juice
drop
in
the
the
juice.
grass.
Yeah.
Is a porta potty really a toilet?
It counts as a toilet.
Just
Yeah.
a hole in
I was at a festival once and a girl in front of me squatted and peed right there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not hard to do
People
it.
don't
man.
care.
You know, it's like, especially if you have $2 million, you can pay for no shame.
True.
You know,
You didn't see anything.
That's what I'm saying.
Slip of mushrooms.
$2 million, there's no shame. I have $2 million.
Why are you pooping in the
And you
grass?
already know that I'm going to
Yeah.
take that $2 million and I'm going to invest that in other things. So that's not going to be $2 million. That's going to be $200 million.
I mean,
At very minimum, you go stock market, make 7% a year on top.
I mean, at the end of the day, also, if you're at a concert or something like that, you know, Josh has said that a girl peed in front of him just out on the crowd, but I never heard that story. No one cares. Like it's a weird story, but like, oh, remember that person who took a shit on the ground at the concert? But it's not like you're like someone. like you're not like breaking it. Like it's like whatever. Like you'll forget about it 2 seconds after.
Squat anywhere, anywhere.
Yeah.
Like, not even like a best experience. Just
I
like,
guess the
my
question-
apartment's 50 feet away, but here's an AC unit I can squat behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess the question.
Yeah, you can find places.
I could dig a hole.
You can do a hole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not a toilet. So
Yeah.
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 Dig a hole.
yes, I will take the $2
Great
million.
fertilizer.
Well, you
Trebek.
also, you brought this up at some other
What
point. You said
is
it wasn't
no
just
toilet?
pooping on a toilet, but also you can't sit on a toilet, like, at all.
Okay,
Like,
yeah,
you
you
die.
can't- yeah, you
Like,
can't
you
sit
sit
on
on
a
a toilet, you die. Like, no peeing, no pooping,
Mhm.
no nothing.
Mhm.
You mess up, you accidentally sit on one, you're dead.
Exactly.
So
you still
I-
take that?
So if I hover
Yes.
over it,
But I still
Yeah, but
take
that's
that
risky
deal.
though. You're gonna fall and die.
that's still.
I'll take
You just
that
hover,
deal.
You can hover, but yeah, if
You might as well
if you
just shit
slip,
your
you're
hand
dead.
and then just
Stand over it.
Howie, I'm gonna take the deal.
Yeah, taking it. Yeah. I wouldn't hover over. That's too dangerous. If you slip, you're gonna fall and
Yeah.
die on it.
Could I do like? Could I still you go to the bathroom in the sink even and just
Yeah.
transfer it to the toilet
Exactly.
after? It's not. You can still use the bathroom.
There's gotta be a garbage
Wash
can
it.
in there.
Yeah.
Just poop in the tub.
Yeah, poop in the tub and then
I get a bag. That's,
or pee in the tub.
Yeah, just keep instead of toilet paper.
Yeah, you gotta work around it, but whatever.
You would have to get rid
You
of
can
all the
throw it
toiletries
out
in your house,
afterwards.
though.
I mean, you also have the toilet paper. But
Yeah.
yeah, toilet paper too. That's always handy in
Yeah,
my
still want toilet
knapsack.
In your knapsack.
Yeah,
You just got some
toilet
hang-
My
paper,
fanny
people walk in
pack,
the bathroom,
yeah,
it's just a
with my-
racky Ziploc
You just put some,
bag, so
you
you
just sheet. Pull it out.
Yeah, I would just carry
My
bags.
dude wipes.
Like, I would just treat
Like a
myself like a
dog.
dog.
Yeah. Josh taking a walk.
Yeah.
It's down.
Just scrape the ground and everything.
Yeah. Goes around in a circle.
Grass.
Yeah, I would kick grass. Yeah. Oh yeah, man.
You make a little more room in your bathroom too if you get rid of all the toilets.
Yeah.
Exactly. I can extend my head.
Actually, I was doing that
You know?
anyway. You don't have to
That's
know.
actually a good idea.
It's actually a plus, yeah.
Strip
I'll
it.
probably still keep a toilet for guests
Dude, you wouldn't
in
even.
like one of the bathrooms, but then like the other ones, like if I had a master bath in my bedroom, I'd be like, I don't even
Oh,
use it.
yeah.
Just
Now,
keep
does a
it.
trough count as a toilet?
No, that's where you pee.
Well, you can also take a dump in it.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think like.
I was gonna
So,
say,
like,
can you just
you
take the
poop
toilet
in
out
the
and use the
You
urinal?
piping
can poop
still?
in the urinal. You can poop in the urinal. Yeah, that's fine. There's nowhere that the poop could actually go down into.
All right.
But
That's it. That's what I take that deal. I take that deal.
Yeah.
Give me
Once
the
again, coming back to the same conclusion of I think it's a pretty good one.
Not even a question.
Not even-
I have them, but they're not ones that are PG.
this is the end of the podcast. So this is.
They're rated.
That's after hours.
They are.
Yeah.
rated.
After hours.
Yeah.
This is what
Pink
we're
Goose after
still
hours.
around.
Yeah.
People are still listening, man.
Or shooting
They're-
there.
I have rated R ones.
They're in.
They'll make you throw up. They'll make you throw up.
We'll save it for next time.
No, let's get one now.
Alright, let's hear one.
Just
Let's hear
one.
one.
Do you want one?
Yeah,
let's
let's
hear
get
one.
now.
Just one. Yeah.
Do you see? Are you
Yeah,
sure?
Yeah, why
let's
not?
go for it.
I don't know if you guys are ready for it.
I don't
I'm
know.
ready for it.
I think I'm ready for
Am I
it.
ready for it?
Worst comes to worst, we can cut it.
Cheers.
Yeah, we can always cut it.
Would you rather drink your father's cum
What
or,
the fuck?
or your mom's period blood?
Oh my
So that's one.
Do I have to be there while he creates the cum?
No, they're jars, right? That's where you
It's
go.
a jar. Yeah, I mean, it's a jar.
There's 2 jars on the table.
Yeah.
Just 2 jars.
Oh,
with
man.
one blood.
2 jars on the table. I'd probably have to.
You guys asked for it. I was.
I have an answer.
I can retract. I'll retract.
I have an answer ready for it. I already know. Yeah.
It's on the thing.
Is
I got
this an
it.
easy one for you?
Yeah, I'll give you an answer right now.
Alright, what you got?
The lesser of 2, I would drink the period blood. Because at the end of the day, blood's blood. Not it's gross, but it's blood. You know, I'm not going to drink
I
the
think I'm
cum.
leaning towards blood too.
But the blood, I mean, yes, the way it comes out is kind of gross. But besides that, it's
Yeah, but
baseline still the
not
same blood that's in your
just
body.
blood, it's also like shedding the
The urinal wall.
Yeah, and also it's more of a liquid.
More visceral.
Yeah, I don't want to. Yeah, you're gonna have to like choke that that semen down, but it's
Yeah, I think the semen would
That's like
probably just make me
nothing I goop.
gag just by the smell of it. Where the blood, I know it's blood smells.
Yeah,
like,
you could just throw it
I-
down.
The blood would be a little
yeah.
easier to do.
Slide right
It's
down.
not clean blood, man.
It's not clean blood. It's not
Not clean
blood.
blood.
Not-
But
It's not
semen
clean
is semen.
Yeah.
Yeah, yikes. I think you're losing a lot of honor drinking semen. So.
Either way.
Only for homophobic.
You like Johnny Knoxville, right?
Huh?
You like Johnny Knoxville? He's drinking semen.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, well, he's a
Yeah.
jackass.
Yeah.
What I would do.
You couldn't have come up with anything better than this?
You asked for it.
That's a pretty good one.
I'll take it. I'll
That's a pretty good
I'll
one.
take it,
Yeah,
but
I'll do the blood.
I do the blood.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't think it matters at that point.
once again, not optimal either. Oh shit, just take one and drink it fast.
Yeah, toss a coin. And
You can plug your nose.
Yeah,
You can
just
close your
take
eyes.
one and drink it. Close your eyes.
But your dad's semen is you.
It's not you.
It's you. It's not you. It's you.
It's your-
It's your brothers and
Might be
sisters.
one in there
It's your own
that
DNA,
finds
man.
the exact same
It's you.
have genes, but
I don't want to hurt my siblings. I'm good.
No?
I think I'd kill myself.
Option 3, yeah.
option 3.
I'll take the latter.
Dot.
is never on the table.
Try to make me drink it, yeah.
Yeah, take the bullet.
Yeah.
I would too.
Break the glass jar.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you know what? Because you can get past that at a certain point.
Can
Give
you?
it a couple of years, and you can put it out your
Think about the emotional trauma that's with you for the rest of your
I
life.
think you could get past it.
Yeah.
I think
Give
we
it a
get
couple
past
years,
it.
like,
It'd be
people
rough, but
can
you get
survive.
past it.
Do your parents know?
Messed up things.
Yeah.
The parents like.
They're just standing there watching next to their glass.
It's like someone has a gun to your head.
This
and
is
is
a
like,
movie
drink this, drink
42
this.
scenario.
Yeah.
What?
Is it 43?
Yeah.
A movie
It's a James Gunn
43
movie.
scenario.
Oh yeah.
some good movie 43s.
And that was the first Pink Moose podcast. Thank you so much for listening. We couldn't have done it without you, and I hope you guys listen next week. Thanks again.